of energy.
Very true. Very true.
How's it going, mate? Oh, just get
It's going
comfortable.
well. It has been a very well. I guess you could say productive and or lucky last couple of days for me in particular.
Uh-huh.
Just
In what
getting
sense?
some in-game luck with like drops and stuff.
On the mobile game, Seven Deadly Sins, is it?
Certainly did. Yeah, got some. There's a lot of random sort of summoning of characters, and I managed to get two of the best ones in one poll. So I'm very happy.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Is it kind of? I know. So if it's free, is there a lot of microtransactions? But you can get everything for free if you work hard enough, sort of
Yeah,
thing.
if you work hard enough and you save up, you can definitely get what you would normally get if you paid. But yes, I'd like to save
Sure.
up in game stuff.
That actually relates to what I wanted to ask you about Bleeding Edge, because it makes a lot of sense now
Oh,
that they've got a lot of appearance microtransactions in that game. I mean, it makes
that's. I
sense.
was going to actually ask. Yeah, I wasn't sure. Can you? I don't think you can pay for in-game currency, can you?
Oh, can you not?
I don't know. I haven't looked, but I don't think you can.
I just assumed you could, and I thought that was going to be their main revenue driver from that game.
Yeah, that would be good, wouldn't it?
Well, so here's the thing, because I know you bought it outright. I didn't know if you got a lot of the appearance packs and stuff on launch because you bought it.
Yeah. So that if you pre-ordered it and you played the beta, you got I think what's called like the punk pack or something.
Yeah,
So there's
yeah,
certain characters that sort of lend themselves to having quite a punk look.
yeah.
So yeah, you got that. But other than that, I haven't really seen much else.
Okay, right.
Yeah, I've
So
actually saved up
maybe.
quite a bit of in-game currency on that because I played the beta and everything transitioned
Oh, right.
over.
So you got currency on the beta as well.
I've already bought a few things like appearance-wise in the game already. So
Great.
yeah.
Well. I mean, that leads on to the very important thing that you told me earlier this week, Jay,
Oh God,
about Bleeding Edge.
what about it?
So we've both played the actual game now. You played both
Oh yeah.
betas.
Okay, I did. Yeah,
You
yeah.
turned on the game and
Oh yeah, the achievements popped, didn't they?
the achievements popped.
Well, 4 out of 10 of them did.
Well, no,
Um,
but what you all the progress you earned on it roughly
yeah,
has
I think
has transferred.
apart from two, which were to get 200,000 damage dealt.
You think you've already
Uh,
done that?
yeah, and there was more than that because there was also like capture points as well, which I'd already
Mm-hmm.
done. So yeah, I think
Okay.
they sort of didn't keep that stuff the same, but other things
Tracked,
they
yeah.
did. Yeah,
Mate, that's still pretty good. I'd be
yeah,
pretty happy with that.
yeah. Just a quick and easy.
Um,
I mean, I could easily get 1,000
yeah.
on that very quickly. Yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
Yeah, I think, mate, I think it's a great achievement list. It's a great achievement list for a multiplayer game, which just makes you want to play it more. Like, it's not that hard. It'll just take time.
Yeah.
It's like like you say, deal a certain amount of damage, like 200,000 damage, heal 100,000 HP, capture 50 points or whatever. So
Mm,
they're all, and there's only like 12 of them. I've already got
yeah.
4 and I've played it for like a couple of hours and it's all completely achievable. I think it's a fantastic achievements list. It makes me want to play the game more, which I think is what achievement lists should do. So
Wow. Yeah.
props to them.
Yeah.
Props to
Definitely.
them. But so we played some last night, didn't we? Was it last night?
Yeah.
We played.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was
How
last
did
night.
you?
Yeah.
We had, and I think we both had quite a bit of fun on it.
Yeah. Having already played it quite a while, I sort of knew how things would turn out at certain points during the game. So I was sort of like leading you, telling you maybe which way to go or which enemy to focus on, stuff like that, which was quite fun to do.
Yeah, man. It was like it was like a constant stream of information. It was like, right, Nick, you don't get okay. Leave that point. Go capture B. Okay, I'm gonna go to A. Okay, don't kill. All right, okay, kill that. What? Who's that? It's the old granny. It's the old granny. Oh yeah, it was good. It was good. Because all the characters are quite different, so it's just a case of kill the guy in the
Yeah.
wheelchair. Kill the guy in the wheelchair. Yeah. So I was just following exactly what you were telling me to do, basically. But it was really fun, actually.
Yeah, a lot of that was sort of like knowledge of previous multiplayer games. I'd say mainly like a mixture of Call of Duty and League of Legends.
Yeah, like the class based kind of like attack heal tank
Yes, but
structure.
it was more of the map awareness stuff, I think.
Sure,
Like
Sure.
I'm constantly, my eye is like always going towards the map. Like I'm looking at what I'm doing, but every couple
Yeah.
of seconds I'm like twitching towards the map to see exactly where everybody is on the.
Look at Matt twitching. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Yeah, yeah, and I quite like the look of the maps. I quite like the look of the game. It feels fresh. There is a bit of lag. We encountered a bit of lag playing.
Yeah, it's weird. It's been like that since the beta, but I think you kind
Right.
of have to have that slightly, just because of
Because
I think
millions or thousands of people are playing it basically
yeah, I think
from
that's also to do
nothing.
with like the weirdly, like I think the game requires quite a bit of like processing.
You sure?
Yeah, I think it does. I think the art is sort of lends itself to needing a bit more processing. There's a bit more going on in the background.
Okay.
So I think a lot of that comes from network issues or sort of processing power of what it requires, I
Yeah,
think.
but I mean, again, if Red Dead 2 can run, and I know I can't compare that to everything, alas I will, but
Mm.
if that game can look the way it does and run fairly
That's a good
smooth,
point. Yeah, that's a good point.
I,
Maybe it
I
is
don't know
just
how
the
games
network
work.
then.
I don't know
Yeah.
how games work though, mate. I don't. You know what I mean? Like maybe you're right. Maybe that many players and a graphic in with the graphics they use. Maybe it is using the limits of the hardware. I don't know enough, but
Mm.
it looks good. It is fun. Although the second match, so we played 3 matches together. The second match or four. The second match was really frustrating because it feels like this is the first time I've played a game like this where you've got attack, heal, and tank.
Mm.
This is the first kind of game I've played like this properly. I haven't played Overwatch, so I was very much, a huge learning curve for me, and I'm just playing attack because I don't really know what else to do, and I find the other roles a bit boring,
Yeah.
basically. Apart
No.
from heal, heal's alright. So yeah, so we were playing together, and I felt that I think we both agreed that if you don't play as a team in these types of games, there's just no point in playing at all, and we don't have 2 or 3 people to constantly that was my doorbell, apologies. We don't have a constant people ready to play bleeding edge with us, so it can be difficult for us because even if I'm going under your lead, you're still going to have the other team all working together and just kicking our butts basically.
Yeah, I think cooperation and being able to communicate things definitely is has always been vital in these types of games. And even when you boot up the game, it makes a point of saying, look, communication is key with this. Make sure you have people you're talking to, or at least talk to the people on your team, even if you
Mm,
don't know them, which is difficult to do sometimes because not everyone is willing to listen. So
yeah.
yeah.
What would you say as someone who play? I mean, to be fair, you said that you'd played a lot of these games solo, and you basically stopped playing Overwatch because of this issue, didn't you?
Yeah, it took a while though. Like the excitement of the game and the artwork and the mechanics of it sort of kept me going for quite a while. But it does start to get a bit like I remember saying before how I like to be rewarded in games fairly often. Like I want to be able to get a good loot drop or
Yeah.
get a good amount of XP after I get a kill or something like that. And it's the same with these types of games. I want my time put into the game to be reflected in me winning more often.
Yeah.
But it's not always the
Like better
case.
stuff, but not stuff that's going to overpower you, which is a bit hard balance, isn't it?
Yeah,
Like you
you
want to be rewarded so that you feel like you're getting better at the game, but you don't want to feel that, level 1 players can't kill you.
yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Well, what I mean is if you were jumping in as a level 1, you wouldn't want to just be constantly killed by a level 50 just
Yeah,
because of the
this is
stuff
true.
they've got,
This is true.
if
Yeah,
you know what
there's
I
there's
mean.
in this game there's no like better gear or anything. You're always coming into each match the same. You're all equal. The only thing that's
Yeah.
different is your skill level, basically, of like how good
Yeah.
you are comparatively to someone who may or may not have played it before. So
Yeah.
yeah, which I like. I
Yeah.
like about that's the one thing I do like about these is it's all a level playing field, and if you've played it enough, then you're like the longer you play it, you are gonna get better at it. It's just you've
Yeah.
got to hope the other people you're playing with are equal, which is kind of why I was hoping there was going to be some sort of like ranked system, but I don't think there is at the moment.
No, I don't think there is either,
Because you can
actually.
usually
Fair point.
tell. I think that's actually when Overwatch got slightly better, is when they started to have the ranked matches. People who
Yeah.
were better were playing with other people, so you were more likely to actually do better in ranked than you would have done in normals or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I like
Yeah,
ranked stuff.
that's a good point actually. Yeah, so it's how are we measuring? I guess you're measuring it on the rewards you oh what no, there is ranks. You get don't you level up each character
No, I
and
mean
your
like
overall?
ranked matches. Like you
Oh,
get
I'm with you.
like a
So so
bronze,
that so
silver,
that
gold type situation.
so that you're always competing against people of a similar level.
That's, yeah, same rank as you. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
no, that
yeah.
is fair. I can appreciate a system like that. I mean, they go all the way back to Call of Duty, like 4, don't they?
What, like ranked
Rank matches,
matches?
yeah, or even before that.
Yeah, I never used to play them in the Call of Duty ones actually. I think I only played them in some of the more recent ones
Okay.
because my competitiveness wasn't really like that yet. It's sort of, so I'd say Overwatch was probably my first real introduction into like competitive PvP. It was always just normal matches and just sort of playing for fun, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I guess you can
So,
compare it to Call of Duty actually, because the amount of times you'd lose in a Call of Duty game would
oh my
usually be
god.
because there's a bunch of bad people on your team. So,
Yeah, that's true. Unless you're playing a free for all or something like that. But yeah, I get what you're
although
saying.
if you've got one person on the team who is so good, they can carry the entire team and win the whole thing
That's
for
true.
you, which is what I sort of hope
Esports
for when I'm
players,
playing Bleeding Edge, or I could hope I could be that for someone else in Bleeding Edge at least.
sure.
But yeah,
Yeah, but it is fun. I don't think it'll be. Look, if it comes to like, oh, what you doing, Nick? Yeah, yeah, let's hop on Bleeding Edge for like an hour. Sure, maybe, but like, I'm not gonna commit conscious time to it. I think at this point, I've had
yeah,
a good shot at it. We had some good fun. I think there's other stuff I want to play now,
yeah,
especially
exactly.
with the cup.
I
Go
mean,
on.
we spoke before about how at least I said that I was more of a sort of like a campaign type person, I suppose.
Yeah,
We do like our single player modes of,
yeah, absolutely,
stories
mate.
and lore and stuff.
And even though Bleeding Edge can serve as this, I love Red Dead 2 at the moment because it's serving as that podcast game for me,
Mm,
where I can pretty much not have to worry about missing any, you know, important dialogue because I've finished most of the story and side missions, well, all of them essentially.
mm.
So I can just kind of, get all the collectibles, mop up everything I've got to do challenges without having to worry about missing any dialogue. So I can just listen to podcasts all day long while playing that. So, and again, Bleeding Edge can do that because I guess you can, you're not listening to important dialogue, but I don't know, just it isn't doing it enough for me to keep going.
Sure.
But if we had a team of really great people, I probably would be a bit more motivated. But I think we had a good time.
Yeah, no, I really enjoyed it. It definitely
Yeah.
made it more fun. Like even losing, I was like, well, at least we tried a little bit harder.
Yeah.
Like I know
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
how much effort I put in versus if I was on my own and lost it, it feels different. Yeah.
Yeah. And I finished Master Chief Collection, finished Halo
Mm,
Reach. Thank
yes,
you. Thank
yes, yeah.
you. Uh Funny actually, because my mate he helped me do well, it was the Cooper who designed the logo for this podcast,
Oh, okay.
or helped produce it. Yeah, he was helping me get one last achievement where you just load up a certain firefight custom match and you kill loads of jackals with a rocket launcher, and my jackal kill counter had stopped, so I couldn't get the
Oh,
achievement. So that is how I'm leaving that game. Not with one but two glitched achievements, technically
oh, that's
three.
really bad, actually. Yeah.
So that's not getting installed ever again. But I thought we'd
Well,
just wrap up that story. Go on.
yeah, I was gonna say because they sometimes they come back and fix those types of things, don't they?
Exactly, mate. But I don't know how many patches they've put out at this point.
I was gonna
They
say, yeah, too many.
Mate, so they first patched it when it first came out. They've then patched it again because they wanted to update it for the Xbox One X, so like make it all fancy 4K, 60 frames, whatever. And then they've now updated it twice following the launch of Halo Reach on PC and Halo 1 or Halo Anniversary on PC, which only came out a couple of weeks ago. And every single one of those that comes out on PC, they're updating all the main menu look for the Master Chief Collection. So again, it's one of those things where I'm thinking, listen, I'm loving this treatment. However, you've got to wonder, are you sure you don't want to put these resources to Halo Infinite? But They've probably
Mm.
got, I'm sure they've got more than enough people working on it, hopefully. But wrap that up. So that's, a weight off my shoulders, so to
Done and
speak.
dusted, yeah.
And as I mentioned, I'm playing a lot of Red Dead 2 at the moment. I've jumped back into it. The daunting list of things to do is slowly crippling down through time,
Yeah,
basically. It's
yeah.
no real skill. I'm replaying through the story missions and getting them as gold, which can take some skill.
Oh wow,
And
yeah.
some of them are real pain in the bum. So what I'll do is I'll replay it. I'll watch all the cutscenes again for the second time, and then if I have to replay it, excuse me, if I have to replay it more than once, then I'll just skip the cutscenes because I don't care that much about them.
Yeah.
And so I'm doing that. So when I get bored of story missions or I get stuck, I'll go back into the open world, and vice versa. And I'm just getting loads of collectibles, really, like plants and hunting down birds,
Yeah, I
for their
remember having to
plume.
do that for the first Red Dead, and that just took so long.
Mate, it's a whole another level for Red
Yeah, I
Dead 2.
bet.
Like,
Yeah, I mean Red Dead
I
1 was
did a
hard
fair
enough.
amount of it during the story, and I can't tell you how much there's left to do. It is to the I want to get your thoughts on this, mate. So Red
Mm.
Dead 1, I think, had just pushed the boat out a little too far with what you're talking about with the collectibles. Red Dead 2, for me, I love it so much that even if I'm not having like loads of fun on it, because I'm using it as a podcast game, I can kind of justify the time I'm spending with it.
Oh, I
My
see.
question
Yeah.
to you is, I assume you just wouldn't bother, like, if it wasn't being fun enough for you, or there was just like Witcher 3, there's just way too much to do. There's 200 hours of content to do. You just step away. You just wouldn't bother, or
It really would have to compare. Like it would have to depend on the game itself, I suppose. One I could compare this to fairly recently, which I won't go into too much detail, was Fallen Order.
okay,
Because when I was trying to complete that 100% and get platinum, there was a lot of collectibles
yeah.
that
But
were
isn't
quite
that more like
tedious.
Isn't that? Have you played God of War, Jay?
What, the more recent one?
Yeah.
No,
Oh, Jesus
I
Christ.
have it. I just haven't played it yet.
Oh my God. Have you not
Well,
played it?
I played the original ones and I quite
Yeah, no,
enjoyed those, but they're very
yeah, mate, they're
different, aren't
great.
they?
God of War. Oh, okay. I didn't mean to distract you. I was
No,
just
you're
going to
good.
say that they sound very similar in their lengths and completion efforts.
What you mean, God of War and Fallen Order?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Oh, well, yeah, I wouldn't. I guess I wouldn't know.
Like 50 hours.
Oh,
Kind.
wow. I think I did it in less than that, actually.
Oh, okay. That's
I didn't
pretty good.
rush it either.
That's good. So what were you going to say? Sorry. So yeah. So you had that kind of see. For me, Red Dead 2 is just like a whole. Like I'll check it out for next week maybe, but I've probably put on like 300 hours on Red Dead 2,
Oh, wow. Okay.
and I've still got like a lot to do.
So I was going to ask you sort of a question, sort of to do with this, in the sense
Hmm.
of, did you get collectibles as you were playing it the first time round, or did you just like
Correct.
miss everything and then come back and get it later on?
No, no. So I mean, you probably know this, but if I can, I will get every collectible before I finish the main story,
Yeah.
unless the story is that what would you call it, like thrilling and addictive that I want to finish it. But
Mm.
usually, I will definitely do at the very least some of the side stuff. And I'll do as much as I can until I get bored and I think, you know what, I need a story to drive me here, because if not, I'm just going to stop playing this game.
Mm.
So, for example, I'm trying to think of an example where I finished. So, Spider-Man
Oh, what, the
finished.
PS4 one? Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't actually, because so I did a lot of the side stuff, but the story was actually getting good enough to me that I finished the story before the side stuff. But
Oh, okay.
typically, in a game like that, I would absolutely finish all the side stuff before finishing the main story.
Yeah, no, I think I did it that way, where I finished all the side stuff before.
That's good. I don't know why. Well, this is probably poor of me, Jay, but I always assume you to be a, play through the story, play minimum side missions.
I think actually, if we, I think we spoke about it before about with Borderlands 3. This sort of time round, I've
Yeah,
made it a point to. I mean, even when I was playing the DLC, the new DLC this morning,
yeah,
whenever I do a main mission, there tends to be at least 2 or 3 side missions that come up just after it's finished. So I'll finish
yeah.
those 2 or 3 side missions before I go on to the next main mission,
Great. Okay.
just
Is
so I
that on
don't
the
have to
DLC? Did
think
you say?
about them
Sorry.
later. Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
just I
Great.
feel like it like in this particular instance, the side missions tend to actually like they tend to tell you more about what's going on in that area at the time. So by the time you come back to it, you've already forgotten what would have happened if like
I
you
think you're
hadn't
spot
done
on,
them.
mate.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
so I
think you're
think
spot
it's more
on.
to do with like the actual like knowing what's going on in the area more than anything else.
Yeah,
You
and
do.
being
I think you
familiar with
miss a
the
lot.
area.
Yeah, I think you miss a lot of like lore and stuff as well too.
Yeah, definitely, mate. Yeah, I completely
I want
understand
to
why you
keep it
do
all
that.
fresh, keep it fresh in the mind at the time, and then forget about it later, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly. And you
Or
want to
don't
just
forget about it, either
tick it
or.
off the
Yeah,
list. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, so you've played you said you've been playing it all morning, sort of
Well,
early
yeah,
afternoon today.
yeah.
I haven't had a chance to touch it yet, which is
Mm.
is it bashful the right word? I don't know. But I will let you know, mate, before I let you go on to your thoughts on it, that I did the claptrap boss on Mayhem 4.
Oh, sweet.
Mayhem
Nice, nice,
4.
nice, nice.
Once on Mayhem 3, once on Mayhem 4, and I'm level 53.
33. Okay, sweet. So you've only got 4 more levels to go.
Yeah, so I'll probably drop it down to Mayhem 2, so it's not too hard for me because I'm a wuss. So it's not too hard for me during the DLC, and then just finish the DLC and see what level I am. But
Oh, okay. You could do it that way.
you yeah,
Sure,
yeah. So
sure, sure.
you grinded to 57 in like an hour.
Yeah, it took me like less than an hour, I think. I went from 53 to 57 in like 30 minutes, maybe,
Okay, wow,
if
Jesus.
that. I mean, yeah, yeah. That's because I put it on Mayhem 4, and you get like 1,000 extra, 1,000% extra XP. So
Yeah.
very handy that way.
And so you've been playing the DLC, so what do you think of it, mate?
I'm very impressed so far.
Right, okay.
I
Please, no details,
No,
please.
no massive details. Just that the atmosphere is always good in these kind of DLCs. I found that in the first DLC, the atmosphere wasn't as I don't know. It wasn't as good for me. I think the first,
Potent.
yeah, I liked the overall DLC of the first one, but it didn't quite feel like a Borderlands DLC to me.
Okay.
It felt slightly different, whereas this one feels a bit more, dark and gritty, which I like.
Yeah, it definitely looks like, it's got you written all over it, kind of a HL, is it, what's his name, Lovecraft or whatever,
Oh
like
yeah, Lovecraft. Yeah,
every
yeah,
time there's a dark room, there's, oh, it's Lovecraft inspired.
yeah,
but,
yeah, yeah. I agree.
but I'm only kidding, but it definitely, I think you're right, the first DLC doesn't provide a particular atmosphere, but it is fun, and it was
Yeah,
it
no,
was
it's fun.
significant. So this one sounds more moody, and you've
Yeah.
been enjoying the dialogue and the
Oh
characters
man,
and
the
the side
dialogue in this is
missions.
amazing. Like, there's a lot.
Okay.
The one thing I do love about Borderlands is the references.
Yeah.
There's so
Yeah.
many good references. I mean, I couldn't tell you what they were now, but when I heard them, I was like, oh yeah, like they're calling back to like Borderlands 1 or 2, like from like a
And you
specific
remember that
DLC
stuff?
mission. Yeah, there's certain like DLC missions from Borderlands 1 and 2 that are so niche, but they're like referencing it now.
Jeez, I don't even know if I would remember the reference. To be honest with you, mate.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there was some stuff I was like, was that from that or was it from something else? But yeah,
Sure. Wow.
I love it when they do that. Like even like you know, like a lot of Borderlands humor is what comes off too with the DLCs. They tend to pack in a lot more of that, and they pull it off really well.
Yeah.
I think some people
Good.
think it's really like tacky, but I think it's one of the main staples of Borderlands, and I'm glad they still do it.
I do like the over the top humor. I do think though that the writing went down a peg from 2 to 3.
Really?
Yeah, I do. I think
Oh,
there's some
okay.
very questionable dialogue choices in 3,
Oh, what you mean,
and
like certain words they were saying, or?
well, I just didn't think the quality was as high as 2. I don't think it was. I think some of the lines were bad, but overall, I don't think that it was written poorly. but
Do you
some
mean
of the
like in the
dialogue I
main
found bad.
campaign?
Main campaign and some of the DLC, not as much in the
Okay.
DLC, not as
Sure,
much in the
sure.
DLC. I don't know if they heard the feedback or not,
I
but
will say the
um,
voice acting in this one is really good so far.
okay, cool. I always thought Hammerlock was fantastic, so
Yeah, no, those characters are really well done.
great. Okay, well, I'm thoroughly looking forward to playing it later, mate.
Mm.
I'm glad to hear you're enjoying it. I'm sure next week we can probably talk about how we finished it. I imagine.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
Um,
my plan is to have it done in the next 3 days or so, maybe.
yeah, yeah. Okay,
Hopefully.
cool. And
Hopefully.
then I mean, we talk about Bleeding Edge, so you've also been playing Final Fantasy VII.
Um, yeah, kind of. I mean, it was
It's
more
on
to
the
do
dock.
with
That's the only reason I mention it.
yeah, that's more to do with like what's coming up with the remake, I think, in the future. Now that I've got
Oh, okay.
time to play it, I think
When's it coming out, mate? Well, when's it
I
scheduled to come out?
think the 10th of April.
Wow, okay, so it's pretty close.
Yeah, so a couple
Oh, I see.
Fridays.
So yeah, I was just thinking. I was listening to some podcasts earlier, and people were saying, "Oh yeah, I've got to play a game for embargo." So I assume that would probably be that game at this point, wouldn't it?
Mm,
There's no other big releases coming out, is there? I
not
don't think.
really, no.
I can't. I don't know. Maybe. Sorry. Yeah. So you just kind of you're looking forward to that now. You're buying it on launch. You pre-ordered it.
Yeah, I'm tempted to pre-order it actually. I'm still debating on whether to do it. I don't think I can justify the higher price. I think the base game by itself might actually be worth getting just the base.
What? Sorry. What do you mean?
Like the extra stuff you get for the remake
Oh, okay.
isn't really justified too much, I don't think. I
Yeah.
think if you were going to
Okay.
get this game, it would either be the base by itself or it'd be like the really special edition that costs like 200 quid or something.
Okay.
But I'm
Got
not
you.
going to do that because I think they all sold out already. So
Yeah.
mm.
Okay. Yeah, it's a popular game in it. But are you going to play the original before this one comes out, or not really gonna have time at
Nah,
this
I don't
point?
think I'm going to have time at this point. I've played it once before, so I know what's going on. I'm just looking forward to seeing how they've made it different or how they've made
Yeah,
it similar.
I'm really excited, mate, for you to play through Final Fantasy VII Remake and tell me exactly, well, not exactly, but your thoughts, your feelings, and then ultimately tell me whether you think it is a better version to play than the
Oh,
original.
well, that's I mean, that's a question and a half right there, definitely.
I know. For me, mate, I haven't played the original, and it's so different. I can't imagine. I think you're comparing apples to oranges, but at the same time, I think let the buzz die down for a month or so, and then we can have a real discussion about is this a better version of the game.
Yeah,
I guess we'll see, but
yeah.
it's exciting. It's exciting times for a lot of people. For people like you who are a fan of the original game, and then you've also been playing Control, or you're gonna play Control.
Yeah, again, that's sort of like what's next in the pipeline, really. Just sort of getting ready to, because you said before about it's done by the same people who did Quantum Break, I think, right?
Yes,
Yeah, so and I absolutely love
Remedy.
that game. So
First DLC came out. Oh wait, so did you play Control? Have you played it yet?
no, I haven't played it yet, but I will. I'll definitely get back to you on that one.
Okay, because the first
Yeah, the
DLC for
first
it's
one came out yesterday, so I
yeah.
mean,
Is it
I might not even play the DLC. That's the thing. I don't know how if the control campaign is going to be good enough. Like I've found that a lot with these types of games where the campaign is good enough and then the DLC never really lives up to it.
sure?
I had a similar thing with the first Watch Dogs game.
Oh my god.
I played the campaign of that and felt like it had been done. Sort of, I was kind of like done with
Yeah.
the story, and then I think I actually did the first DLC and it didn't really like live up to the rest of the story from before. So
Okay.
yeah, I mean, I'm comparing completely different games, but hopefully it'll be as good. Hopefully it'll blow my mind, and then we'll be able to talk about it more.
Yeah, I know what you're saying though. When a game's really great, the DLC should hopefully either add to it or just provide more of it. And in a case like Spider-Man, they just provide more
Yeah,
and add
no,
a little bit.
Spider-Man ones were amazing. Like
Interesting,
they really
interesting.
were.
I'm going to leave that debate to the side for now, but
Sure.
all that discussion, I should say. But we will talk about Watch Dogs next week because that is a great game to talk about. and yeah, let me know if you play it. I'm persistent in the fact that I think the Control will come to Game Pass, so I'm not going to
Oh,
play
okay,
it until that happens. But I
sure.
think it's good enough for me to try it. It got a lot of Game of the Year nods, but I actually think that's because last year was a very, very niche year for games, so I don't think that the Game of the Years were particularly strong in a general sense. For example, I don't think any of them were as strong generally as Red Dead 2 or God of War. So I'm gonna try it. I think and probably play it for about an hour and see how I feel. If I love it, I'll probably play all of it and 100% it. But how many DLCs are planned to release for it? Do you know?
I don't know. I'm guess. I
Okay,
mean, I
can you
could
look it
guess.
up,
Yeah,
please?
yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean. Yeah, just because I'm
All good.
thinking, I just like to be because Quantum Break to me looked like a game which was perfect for a season pass, and I'm surprised they didn't have any DLC for that.
Yeah, that's a
Can't be
good point,
honest,
actually. Yeah, I
because
think it's
I
because
always assumed they did, but I don't think they did.
no, I think it's because the end of the story ending sort of made it seem like it was
Oh yeah,
moving
you said
ahead
yeah.
elsewhere. Um, yeah, I can't see anything else about more.
Okay, right.
So
Well, we'll just see. We'll see what they come out with then.
see what they say. Yeah.
But so next thing, Jay.
Hmm.
I wanted to, following on from our conversation we had last week, I wanted to ask you. So, what game was it? Assassin's Creed Rogue. I said that I had to go all the way to the beginning or start a new game and play through, I don't know, a third of the game or so, maybe a bit longer to get one achievement to finish the achievements.
Oh,
So then
sure.
I put on the dock, I want you to give me your example of that if you have one. So yours is
I think it's legendary. I'm pretty sure it is.
that dinosaur shooter
Yeah,
in
there
like
was there's
modern day.
one sort of like boss I think right near the end, unfortunately, where if you did it on
Is there not
hard,
level select?
I'm not sure. I think that's why I had a problem with it. I think there wasn't level select.
Jesus.
Yeah, it might. I mean, there might have even been level select, but there might have been like so much of a long um, mission that because it was right near the end, it sort of took me forever to do it anyway. Because I seem to remember
Yeah.
the missions taking like a couple of hours each, and
Okay.
it didn't like save like part way through. You had to start from the beginning again. So yeah, I'm
Jesus
pretty sure there
Christ.
was like I had to do it. You had to kill a certain boss a certain way on hard, and if you missed it, you
Right.
missed it. You just had to start all over again, basically. So,
Oh, that sounds horrible.
so yeah, I'm pretty sure I had to go back to
So
that.
was that? I remember. I think I played that game for about an hour. Was it? Was it any good?
I mean, it definitely doesn't hold up now, but I mean,
Okay.
it came out in like 2009, maybe.
About the time it was okay. It was passable.
Yeah, I don't think it reviewed very well,
Okay. All right.
but yeah, it was fine.
Okay. So
2008,
if
there we
there's
go.
no other game you want to talk about, what you're playing, I think it's time for the news.
Sure, sure.
Okay. So you want to talk about a couple of stuff. I didn't
Mm.
really have anything I want to talk about. So, firstly, from GameSpot, Nintendo Switch is sold out everywhere apparently.
Yeah, that is quite a straight. Well, I mean, we could definitely guess why.
Okay, sure, right. But
I
what
think
why pick Nintendo Switches of all consoles? I guess is the
so. Nintendo Switches have. I mean, they've sold really, really well, haven't they? They are Nintendo's
yes,
best-selling.
outsold Xbox Ones. I think.
Yeah, exactly. I think they're just so convenient.
Yeah.
Them being handheld. I mean, handhelds have always, usually been for younger people. DSs and stuff like that, PSPs
Mhm.
maybe. They've always seemed like more of a kids thing because they've always had quite like childish games on them.
Mhm.
But now that you can play, The Witcher 3 on Switch, there's probably a lot more people who are slightly older, so that it's sort of hitting a different market at this point.
Mhm.
And now with the events of what's going on at the minute, a lot more people have found themselves needing more, entertainment in that sort of area. So
Yeah, that's
yeah,
fair. You have a Switch, don't you?
I do actually. The only reason I actually got it was because of the more recent Pokemon.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Which you
yeah,
finished in like 2 days, didn't you?
I mean, I finished it in like a week or so, but
Okay.
I
Okay.
haven't played it recently.
I'm
But there
exaggerating
is
there.
actually there is actually an expansion coming out soon for it. Which is strange because Pokemon's never done expansions before. They've always just had an end game that tends to go on. But with this one, there
Or a
wasn't
new
much of
version, I
one.
guess.
Or yeah,
Like the
they've
Ultra Sun,
usually
Ultra
done
Moon.
like yeah, Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, or Black and White 2, that sort of thing. Yeah, they've sort of done
Yeah,
another
was
game.
Black and White 2, were they actual sequels?
So no, it was the same game, just with like added stuff in it.
Oh,
It had
right.
like an additional end game essentially.
Okay, that title is a bit misleading, but fair enough.
Yeah.
Did X and Y get any of that treatment?
No, I think it just
Did
had
they
a
get a
really
Z?
big end
They didn't
game.
get
I
a Z?
think
No.
no,
Okay.
which everyone was predicting, but it never showed up.
Oh right, so yeah, their techniques then, or their oh Christ, just hit my laptop. Their strategies for the Pokemon games then do vary. So they do remakes, which are really good, and then so they've done like things like Emerald, which is both games in one almost, but like a better version of both. And then they've done upgraded versions like Black and White 2, like Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, and now they're going down the DLC route, I guess.
Mm. Yeah, I think
Interesting.
because it's now on Switch, they've now got that opportunity to sort of keep adding on to it rather than I think
Mm,
because they hadn't released a Pokemon in quite a few years, they just sort of maybe spent more time on trying to make this one last longer.
sure,
I want to
sure.
say, yeah.
Well, it's kind of like Pokemon Go, right? They want that to last as long as
That's
possible.
true. Yes, I think all the new Pokemon stuff they kind of want to keep that around for the next couple of years, and then maybe we'll get a new Pokemon in like 2 or 3 years. I think they're doing that thing of like spending longer on games to make the quality better.
Hmm.
And also, I think because they had never made a Pokemon game on the Switch before, it was obviously a bit more difficult to go from DSs to a Switch. There was the hardware was different, so they had to learn as they were
Hmm.
going. So it probably took them longer as it is anyway.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see the scope and detail of this DLC. Do you know how many DLCs they got planned for these games at all?
Um, at the minute, it's just I mean, it's technically it's two expansion packs.
One for
Um,
each game,
no, so that they're for both games, but the first one's called the Isle of Armor, and the second one's called the Crown Tundra.
and they're coming out at the same time.
No, I think one's coming out before the other.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Oh, okay. So that sounds like their DLC roadmap then. Yeah. Okay.
basically, yeah, it's like a roadmap. Yeah, a
Yeah.
plan for
Okay.
what's coming.
Fine. Okay. So yeah, so the Nintendo Switch is sold out everywhere. So are you annoyed by this? I'm not going to get a Switch at the moment, so I'm not. It doesn't affect me really. But what are your thoughts on them selling out?
I'm just trying to think, like, how many more people need to buy a Switch? I feel like they've sold so
uh,
many anyway. How many more are they going to sell? And I
Mate,
think
I
with
think the
the
same thing about GTA 5. Who hasn't got that game
Oh,
at this
that's so
point?
true. That's so true. I mean, with the recent Animal Crossing release, um, that's I think that has like really made people want to buy Switches. I think that's probably one of the bigger reasons right now. Which is strange because Animal Crossing never really felt that popular to me.
Mate, I don't even think I'm surprised anyone bought any games for the Wii U, let alone the Wii U, and people did, if that makes sense. Like, I'm daily surprised by the things that people buy. I've got to say, um, but some things come at the right time. I think Nintendo are smart at
Oh yeah.
lining up their first party games in terms of this month is Animal Crossing, next month is a Sonic game, and etc. etc. I think they're quite smart at that, and they have this thing with Switch where all of their franchises have lined up really well, so that Zelda and Mario, it felt like it was time to have those games. Ultimate Smash Brothers, it felt like it was time to have that game, and I think that they're using all of these timings really well in releasing these games exactly when people want them, like the new Pokemon, like a new Animal Crossing. I think at this point, though, thinking about Nintendo's first parties and franchises, aren't they running out of those sorts of games where we haven't got a Luigi's Mansion, and well, one's just come out. So, do you know what I mean? Like, have we got many of those left that they haven't released a new game for in that franchise at this point? Crossing must be one of the last ones, I imagine.
I mean, yeah, there's so many. That's the thing, isn't there? I mean, they could. I mean, we could try and list them all now, and probably wouldn't get close to,
Oh, I mean, why bother? They're all the same game
yeah.
anyway.
I mean, Nintendo's always been the one
I'm
that's like,
joking.
I mean, they are really, aren't they?
Oh, mate. This we're gonna tell you what. Episode 10, show number 10. We are gonna explain why Nintendo gets away with murder.
Okay,
I'll put it in stone. Episode
sure.
10 to celebrate, it getting this far or getting that far. We're gonna talk about Nintendo and why we don't. I don't like Nintendo games at all.
I mean, yeah, okay.
I do, but well, yeah, let's do that. Episode 10.
Sure.
We can still talk about Nintendo, but let's just, let's anticipate to that road where I think we're both going to agree quite a lot on the issues in Nintendo that a lot of people don't talk about. I think
Hmm.
that's fair. For
Yeah,
example, Jay, little spoiler of what's ahead. The new Pokemon games, am I right in saying they haven't got voiceover?
they haven't got voiceover.
Yeah,
Oh, you mean like there's no voice acting at all?
no voice acting.
No, I mean none of them ever have though, right?
I mean, I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Yeah, I don't. No, they don't do that kind of thing.
Christ.
It did. I think when Pokemon first came out, it sort of people were annoyed at the fact that there wasn't enough content.
The new one.
Yeah, they were annoyed that I think they called it like Dexit. I think
Oh
because
right,
the
yeah.
Pokédex wasn't full. It wasn't the amount they usually have. It's only like so many. It was only like 200 or something.
Well, I thought it was like 150 usually.
No, I mean like so in previous Pokemon games, they've had in the end game you were able to capture the rest of the Pokemon.
Sure.
So like all the ones from like Gen 1 and 2. If you were playing a Gen 3 game, you could capture
Yeah.
ones that were
Doesn't
from
that mean you just
previous ones.
transfer all the Pokemon over though?
Yeah, but you couldn't do that until they released this new thing where you could do that, which is Pokemon Home. I
Okay.
think. Yeah, Pokemon Home is essentially the same as Pokemon Bank for DS. It's just you can transfer all your Pokemon
So
across
can you
to
put
it.
all the old gen onto the new gen now, or into the new Pokemon game?
Yes, you can now. Yeah, but for a long
So I
time you couldn't. So
I assume that that's a lot of work because you have to animate and all that.
yeah,
Hundreds
you
of
basically have to
Pokemon.
make loads of new 3D
Yeah.
uh, things which haven't
Models
been
and
there. They were all
yeah.
2D before. So yeah.
Yeah, no, that makes sense to me. I always found that really interesting. I remember doing that for Sapphire and Ruby onto my Leaf Green or whatever, or vice versa.
Yeah.
And I was like, that was really cool moment where we transferring Pokemon and we were like, oh my god, the Pokédex has just gone to 350 or whatever it was, and we just like. That was cool. That was cool. But I assume if you collect every Pokemon along the way, you can just bring your entire, like 800 Pokemon through with you at this point.
Yeah, I mean, if you're dedicated
If you
enough
do
and
it
you have the
right,
right technology, then yeah, I mean, there's quite a long process and lots of different wires and all
different
sorts of
adapters and
yeah,
things.
different
Yeah.
adapters that would yeah, you'd have to. It could probably cost you a lot of money as well. Yeah.
That'd be an interesting thing to do, though. But okay.
Mhm.
And then the next thing is a very strange thing, but it is a thing nonetheless. So the source code for Xbox Series X, the next generational Xbox,
Mm.
is being held ransom apparently. So Jay, do you want to
Reportedly, yeah.
reportedly, yeah? And
I mean,
this was from the blog post website, which was bear me to AMD.
mhm.
And then IGM reached out for comment, I think, as well, and also a report from Torrent Freak as well about the claims about the stolen data. So
Yeah. So basically, what I think Microsoft wanted to make a point that it wasn't going to affect if this thing was true, if what people were saying were true, that it didn't really affect basically what they'd stolen didn't actually make much of a difference because it wasn't gonna like if someone used that code, it wasn't really gonna be able to be used anywhere else. It wasn't the right stuff they needed to basically copy the Xbox as it were. I think
Mm.
what the hackers, if this was true, we're trying to basically steal the main heart of the new Xbox. But what they really did is they just sort of stole stuff around it that wasn't really that important. They took the appendix of the Xbox essentially.
Right. Okay.
So yeah, I mean, I don't think it won't really go anywhere. But 100 million seems quite low to me, also.
So the source code is that it's like what is the foundation of the Xbox, so they could technically build a Series X or something like that,
Yeah, I
or
think
the
it was
software.
almost like the blueprint, I suppose, but it was more to
Right.
do with their teraflop system.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
the Xbox sort of bragging about it having 12 teraflops. It was sort of basically the code needed to be to make that happen essentially.
I'm with you.
Um,
Right, and isn't that? I was going to say this is all criminal, of course.
yeah, any amount of taking that level of copyrighted
Yeah, it's
technology
their
is
product,
is
software,
there.
yeah,
So
code,
yeah,
yeah.
it's definitely illegal to do.
Right. Do you think I assume they're not going to get away with this, or?
Probably not. I mean, unless they knew what they were doing with it, I don't think they could probably do much.
Yeah.
I mean, there's
Wow.
also code that you know they have many copies of. I imagine like they're not. It's not just like one little thing they left somewhere easily to be able to access. It would be many different things combined with other things that would make it all work together. So
I would love to see these hackers in real life and just see what they look like.
what just to think if they're like the complete opposite of what you're thinking in your head, kind of thing.
Correct. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. I'm thinking in my head. I'm thinking. Have you ever seen The Social Network?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I'm thinking, when they get the house, like halfway through the film, and they're like, hanging out at the pool and stuff, and that guy's just like wired in. I'm just thinking
Yeah.
like guys like that, like complete virgins.
Oh, okay.
That's yeah, yeah. Super smart though. Don't get me wrong, but I'll be interested to see how they actually look. But it's interesting to me that these. I assume people are just trying to hack these companies all the time. It's interesting because
Oh,
Microsoft is so
definitely.
software
Yeah.
based, and their security, I guess, is in danger. I guess, but also it's interesting because I guess people are doing this all the time and trying to get information. And I always wonder, like, why not just work for the companies? It sounds more lucrative, but what do I know?
I'm guessing it's pretty difficult to work with companies like that, unless you've got a big
True,
portfolio. So,
true, true.
I mean, Sony got hacked, didn't they, back in 2014?
Yes, or
Uh,
2011 was it? Are you talking about the PSN outage?
I mean, Sony have had many hacks, I think.
uh,
Unfortunately, I think they've had quite a few, but I think there was one big one in 2014. But I think
yeah,
that was more to do with their film production, their film
yeah.
studio.
I remember what you were talking about. Yeah, and then they
Yeah.
of course had the great PSN outage of 2011 as well.
Mm, yeah.
Oh mate, I remember walking into my brother's bedroom almost like every 2-3 days, be like, oh yeah, is it back up yet? And he's like, no. I'll be like, this is
I mean,
awful, isn't it?
it was I don't know, I can't remember if it was from April to May or if it was on specific dates in April and May. But yeah, I think it happened on either two different occasions or for a whole month essentially. They
It's
had
just think,
outages here and
oh yeah,
there,
didn't it come back up and then go straight back offline or something?
something like that. Yeah.
Something like that.
I mean,
Oh mate,
I'm sure Microsoft get a
fantastic.
similar thing, but at this point they must have a lot better, security on.
I find Xbox Live the best online gaming service
Oh,
personally.
sure. Yeah. Okay.
Um, but I am biased. But
Yeah, it's
last
true.
thing I want to talk about, mate, if that's all right, is
Mm,
Fallout 76 DLC. I've just put this on there because it just
yeah.
sprang to mind. But the Fallout 76 DLC got delayed, so I haven't played Fallout 76. We're both massive Fallout fans. I assume you haven't played 76 either.
I've played 76. Yep.
Really?
I have. I played when it first came out.
Right.
Is
What
it
are your
free to play?
thoughts?
I can't even remember. I think it is free to play.
No,
Is
no,
it not?
no,
I just could swear it was.
no,
Oh,
no,
maybe
because
not.
no.
Oh, I could have. I don't remember paying for it.
But you have it.
Yeah, I have it somewhere. I must have it on
Okay.
PlayStation. Um,
It wasn't a PS Plus game, was it?
uh,
Don't think so. No, no,
no.
because Nah, because what it was, mate, was it like if you made it free to play, then everyone who had bought this broken game would you would lose their faith essentially.
Oh,
So
that's
why would they
true.
get rid of their only audience? So I think it's the
Okay.
kind of thinking there.
I think
But
they've been very consistent though, haven't they, with their roadmap?
well, here's the thing, mate. They haven't.
Oh,
They
okay.
delayed the Battle Royale DLC. I think that's part of Wastelanders. I think. Um, Anyway, so yeah, this Wastelanders DLC, what it was supposed to do was update the main campaign to have more NPCs. They were introducing NPCs to the world, and I think a Battle Royale mode was part of it as well. I think if that's not already out, I don't know,
Yeah,
but
no, I think
it's been
that.
pushed back essentially. So I think their first DLC came out, I think, on time. And now their
Yeah.
second one's been pushed back for obvious reasons, which is
Yeah, so it's
fine.
supposed to. So the second one came out summer 2019.
The second DLC,
Yeah, the nuclear winter one, right?
did it?
And then the third one, I don't think
What was
came
the
out.
first one then?
First one was Wild Alpacia,
Oh, okay, right,
and
okay.
then second one was Nuclear Winter, and then third was Wastelanders.
So is this the last one then for the roadmap
I'm not even
for
sure if Wastelanders has
2019?
even come out.
I don't know. That's the one that's got delayed,
Ah, that'll be it then. Yeah, so Wastelanders was supposed to come out in fall 2019, but it looks like it's been
been
delayed.
delayed.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So this is interesting. So yeah, so them three DLCs were the main DLCs for 2019.
Mm.
Whether they have another two or three planned for 2020, or they did, I don't know. It'll be interesting to know. But it's been pushed back, and now I'm thinking I'm probably never going to play this game now, especially because I think they introduced private servers, which is what me and my brother are waiting for, but they made it under the subscription thing where you've got to pay like 100, like 80 quid or whatever, which is obscene.
Yeah, no, that is a lot.
Um,
Didn't they like ask for like £100 or something initially?
that's it. Yeah,
I think it was
yeah,
900. No, it was no, it was £99.99,
yeah,
like specifically.
yeah.
Yeah,
More than
that's
game.
so strange. I'm actually looking at a live player count right now of Fallout 76.
Okay,
Do you reckon you could have a guess at how many people are playing it right now?
on Steam,
Everywhere combined.
50,000.
30,000.
See, that's not too bad, is it?
I mean, it's
I
not
don't.
terrible, but I mean, there's still enough people. That's like a good amount of people to watch a live stream, essentially. Like if someone's
Yeah,
getting 30K on
definitely.
a live stream, like they're gonna make a lot of money. So
Yeah, sure, but yeah, and it's a player base for a break. Yeah, and so yeah, I've heard they've updated it. They've fixed a lot of issues, but the more these DLCs get delayed, and then they push out things like that £100 or whatever pass, I'm like so put off. I
mm,
don't think I'm ever going to play this game. If they came out with a free update for private servers and these DLCs were really good, and Wasteland has come out and it improves the main campaign and loads of other stuff, I probably would have dived into it. But at this rate, I'm just not sure I'm going to do it. I don't know what your thoughts are.
yeah, strange. What the amount of time I did play, I might have even played the beta potentially. That might have been what I played.
Oh, okay.
Well, of what I did play, I actually really enjoyed it. I think I played it for like 4 or 5 hours,
Okay.
and the main campaign was actually pretty fun. Or like the main
Interesting.
storyline, it definitely felt like an MMO, but a Fallout MMO. That's basically how it felt. It did
Well,
feel like that.
the
Oh, actually, it
the
kind of felt like Borderlands in terms of like the missions, like they got given to you, like as you were going around. It was
mm,
like an open world Borderlands, actually.
mm, the premise of it was so exciting, mate.
Oh
Like
yeah,
if that game, just delivered on what it was supposed to
it'd
be,
be
that
massive. Yeah,
oh we would have already put 300 hours into it, no doubt.
yeah, we put a lot into it, definitely.
I
We'd
would
have some
be.
really cool characters. We'd be doing some really good raid bosses. It'd be a lot like Destiny, I suppose, wouldn't it?
Yeah, exactly, mate. Exactly.
It's Destiny with
It'd be a
crafting.
great. It would be a great game, and I think because it's in the Fallout universe and it's made by Bethesda, that would be the buy-in for me. Where I think, you know what, I don't play Destiny, I don't play Division, but I will play this game, off and on for 2 to 3 years because it's Bethesda. But
Mm.
unfortunately, they have not been hitting the mark really. So
No.
it's just sad. Fallout 76 it's what we all wanted. An online kind of co-op multiplayer Fallout is exactly what we all wanted.
I think for some people it's enough. It's just for others like us, I guess it isn't, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Do we
it just.
expect too much nowadays, or what? Or do we
I mean,
just
I know.
like hold people to a higher standard? Is that what it is?
I think we hold Bethesda to a high standard because of the games they've released, but I
Yeah,
know that I've got a fairly high standard in terms of I'm not going to play the game unless I think I'm going to love it.
yeah, that's true.
I don't have the time. Don't have the time, mate.
Mhm,
Don't have
mhm.
the time.
Oh, that's a point. Yeah, I guess like with their research, like public research of this stuff, they probably didn't. I mean, they might have thought a little bit about people having a job and are they going to be able to play it. I guess you could still play Fallout 76 if you only played it a few hours a day.
Sure.
But if you're like really into it, I guess you're going to want to do a bit more than that, aren't you?
Well, yeah, and you're probably going to want to do that every day for the next 4 months. You
Yeah,
know,
I'm guessing that there definitely is people out there who still play it religiously and
for
still
sure.
love it. If there's enough people, that still
Oh,
love it, I'm
sorry.
sure. As long as the 30,000 people who are playing it can keep it going, then it's up to them really. If they're making a profit, they're making a profit, aren't they?
Absolutely, mate. And
Yeah,
yeah, and like you say, I'm sure the fan base is out there.
yeah.
I think what it is like if we ever were in a position where we were financially independent enough to stream us two playing Fallout 76 for a month straight and then to give our verdict of the game after that month, that is a project that I would definitely do. But
Mm,
from a personal pleasure and leisure point of view, I just can't bring myself to play that game right now. There's
yeah,
better
that's
games
true.
to play, I
Too
think.
many. Yeah,
So
definitely.
yeah,
That's
but
the problem with multiplayer games like that. They tend to have a lifespan, and if you don't play them soon enough, they tend to like the servers just die, and then that's it, right?
yeah, for
I've
sure.
had that
Or
happen a
the
few times with like uh, I might actually better save this for another time. But there was a game that came out on just on PC called Marvel Heroes.
yeah, I know
Um,
what you're on
yeah, and then
about.
they tried to revive it by bringing out a different version, like a simplified version on PS4. But if
Marvel
anything,
Omega Hero or something.
yeah, it's that. Yeah, so that sort of killed it though, essentially.
Really? I
Yeah, I
thought.
think basically Marvel said to the company who were doing all the building for it, said we don't want you to work on the game anymore. We want to take it over for ourselves, and in doing so, they completely like killed the game. So
Jesus.
so yeah, like I said, I mean that game was out for like 5 or 6 years, so it had a lifespan. They'll never game. A lot of games tend to not last any longer than that, especially multiplayer ones. Although at this point, Overwatch I think has been around for longer than that, right?
4 years this year.
Oh, is it only four?
Yeah. That's
Oh,
fairly
okay.
long, mate, considering the size of the player base.
Oh, it'll be 5 years in October.
Wow. It came out 2015. Oh my
Yeah,
god.
27th of October 2015. So
Wow.
yeah, which I guess is why they're bringing out Overwatch 2 because they're realizing that Overwatch is starting to get that near to the end of its lifespan.
Right. Yeah, which is interesting, isn't it, to see, when do we justify a sequel? How long have they been actually working on the sequel? Will it be a step up enough to deliver on the promise and all that stuff? But it's like I mean, the player base will drop off if the servers don't. So it's
Mm.
an interesting point, mate, for sure.
Yeah, I
So
think 3 to 5 years is sort of like minimum to maximum of most online games lifespans, I'd say.
mhm.
Unless it's like World of Warcraft and it's been around for bloody ages, isn't it?
Oh mate, what a game! So
Yeah.
I wanted to talk about as well Half Life Alex.
Mm.
Um, I maybe you can just give a 2 minute summary, Jay, of your history with Half Life.
Okay. Well, I don't really have one, not really.
Have you played any of the Half Life games?
Oh man, for like barely any time.
Great. Okay, great. I've played Half Life 2
Okay.
I've tried to do it twice now, and I've got about 3/4 of the way through. I think I might have finished Half Life 2. I can't remember. I think it does a lot of things that are very, very smart, and it's got a lot of really smart mechanics and cool cinematic styles.
Mm.
But the puzzles completely break the gameplay for me. Why would I play a first person shooter and then try and solve a physics puzzle? That is the worst. I couldn't imagine anything worse than trying to solve a puzzle while I'm trying to shoot bad guys. Secondly,
Yep.
it just doesn't do it enough for me. It's like it's came out in like 2000 and whenever.
2004.
Yeah, I just it doesn't do it for me, mate. So, you
I
know,
feel like weirdly Portal 2 I think took all the good things about Half-Life and the first Portal and made them more of a reality.
hmm
In the sense that if you actually know like the sort of the weird lore and the background of Portal, it sort of like ties into the Half-Life world and makes a bit more sense in that way.
yeah,
Like
yeah, for
Half-Life,
sure.
Half-Life the I mean from like the puzzle perspective of like Portal is basically just a puzzle game, isn't it? You work your way through all these different, you know, physical puzzles, and then you just leave essentially, or whatever. You know, have you completed Portal 2?
Completed Portal 1.
Okay.
I don't like puzzle games, so that was a
Wow.
bit of a, you know, by the time I finished it, it was a good length. I was about to get a bit bored with it. I watched Ben Mills
Oh,
play through Portal 2 all the way because I couldn't be bothered to play it myself. So he just played it for
yeah.
me.
No, okay.
So sat down and watched him play through it, and I thought the dialogue, having like J.K. Simmons in it and stuff was just fantastic.
Yeah, no, I think the ending of Portal 2 is like even that. I mean, the whole game of Portal 2 is. I kind of want more of that game where it's like you're not given you're given hardly any information.
hmm
Like you just sort of find these random rooms and with
Mm.
like weird text in them. It kind of actually reminds me a little bit of the Assassin's Creed story with like the Animus and everything. It's all very like up in the air and you don't quite know what's going to happen.
Mm.
Like you don't know what's on the outside of this place you are, and then you kind of find out what is on the outside, and you're like, where the hell am I? You know, where is this facility where all these puzzles and these portals are taking place? What's actually going on? And I still don't think we actually know the answer to that, do we?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think they leave a lot in the air on
But
purpose, and
I
that
think
gives it a nice mystery.
if it hadn't have been for Half-Life and Half-Life 2, those mechanics would have never have been around, would they? So
Yeah,
because
you're
I
probably
think
right.
Portal is made in the same engine, right?
Yeah,
It's
I think
by
you're
Valve
right.
and everything.
Or as
So
a models, like yeah,
yeah,
um, yeah, it's interesting. I
but
so yeah, I wanted to talk about Half Life, Alex,
yeah, yeah.
because I don't care about the franchise, but
No,
it's
me
got
neither.
very good response, and
Yeah, there's definitely an audience for it.
yeah, and I mean, who knew we were gonna have a new Half Life game? All right, it's
I
VR.
mean,
I mean,
Half-Life 3 has sort of become a bit of a meme at this point, really, isn't
it's
it?
an absolute meme, mate. It's an absolute meme, and
Yeah.
I think it's not. It shouldn't be that surprising that they've released a VR game because if you look at Valve, they are innovators, and I think that's what excites them the most.
Mm.
And I guess my concern is for the Half Life fans is that if I'm right, they released Artifact, like a card game, in like 2018 or something like that. I don't know how big that's taken off, but I feel that they could have done perhaps a more impactful job there, but I don't know. Um, and they've now released, the best VR games. So it sounds like they're starting to get the ball rolling again. They're starting to make games. They're starting to release them. So the question is, are they going to break the threefold? And are they going to make Half Life 3? And I think there is a potential that they could. My question is, will they, and will it be a VR game? Because that to me would be a bad decision. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I mean, it kind of depends on where VR's going, really, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I think this VR game is sort of like it's obviously supposed to be like a tiding you over type situation, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. But the
Like
question
maybe
is,
a
why
bridge.
make it? Why make it when they've gone for so long without any Half Life? I guess
Mm.
like why give players hope if they why give them hope?
Well, can we hope for anything else? The same thing, hope for hope kind of situation.
I mean,
I don't
look,
know.
we got a Crash Bandicoot and a Spyro remake. I think anything's possible. I really do.
Yeah, anything is
Um,
possible at this point.
yeah, but I just wanted to bring that up because
Yeah.
it's. I think Valve is starting to make games again, and I think they have the power to make 10 out of 10 games, and I think that should be exciting for everyone, really. Whether they have a VR headset or not, I guess.
I feel like Valve's
So
always been that really weird game developer. I mean, they've made a lot of games. It's just that none of them have really been. I mean, they've been very impactful. It's just they've sort of nothing. They're not that special to me.
Portal 2,
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Portal 2 and then Left 4 Dead 1 and 2.
I mean, that's three of that's a few of their main games they made. Last gen.
Yeah, but I mean, other than that, it's like Dota, Half-Life, Team Fortress, Counter-Strike, and Artifact, and that's like pretty much it.
For sure.
I mean, it's not. I mean, it's all very. I don't know. It all just kind of feels the same to me. Like
I
they've all. I
think
feel like Valve has had its day. Like Valve shouldn't really.
I
Like,
think there's
either
an
did.
argument for that, but I think this game shows that they haven't, if that makes sense. They've still
Yeah.
got it in them.
Oh, you mean because of Alex? Yeah, 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 okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they've spent a good amount of time, obviously, making this and
Yes.
wanting to make it a good product. From what I have seen of it, it's actually fairly impressive.
For sure, and I think they're in that unique situation like Naughty Dog and Rockstar, where they don't have all the time in the world, but they have almost as much time as they want to make it as good as they can, which is so exciting from our point of view.
Part of me
Um,
thinks that they haven't actually got the capability to make a full Half-Life 3.
oh, dude, there's loads of people over there. There has to
But
be.
no, what I mean is like Half-Life 2
Yeah,
came out so long ago that the systems that would have been needed to be able to make that game back then would have been obviously, top of the line.
yeah.
But the jump in technology between then and now is so big that I don't think even the people over there would know how to like make a game big enough or substantial enough. It kind of
Well,
feels like Alex is quite small of a game, right? Or is it bigger than I think?
I think I don't know the number of hours, but it's significant. I think it's one of the biggest VR games, and I know
Okay.
that it's the most detailed graphically. So I think the most responsive from people saying stuff, but I think they would probably have to do it from scratch, and if not, use some of the systems they used in Alex, I guess. But that to me would be the only way going forward. I think on their
Hmm.
franchises, but I think it would be. I spoke about this a few years ago, but imagine imagine the hype they would get if they were like, okay, next year we're releasing Left 4 Dead 3 with a full DLC roadmap, multiplayer, and co-op campaign to give you any Left 4 Dead that you want. We're also going to bring over the first two games after a year, so that this will be the Left 4 Dead for years to come. The platform, right?
Yeah.
Then the next year or the year after, they release Portal 3 and they go,
Oh,
here's a
okay.
single player Portal campaign, here's a co-op Portal campaign. This is a limited experience, and this is the best Portal experience we've ever created. Then the year after that, they come out with Half-Life 3. Can you imagine?
That would be pretty insane, actually. You're sort of getting me a little bit hyped up, actually.
I just think from a marketing point of view that
Actually, it'd
would
be good because
you
it'd be all the threes, wouldn't it? It'd be three, three,
exactly.
three.
And
Hmm.
like, sure, you could do Team Fortress 3 in there, I guess. Sure, why not? We'll finish with a multiplayer game to tide you over, maybe. I don't know. Dota, don't care. Sure, why not? I guess. But that game already seems too big to make a sequel to at this point. But
Yeah.
I mean, like, I think they could generate. I think they could be. If they did that, they would be the developer for next generation. Is what I'm trying to say.
It kind of makes me think, well, why did they put out Artifact to see if they could make some money, if they could make a profit off of it, and then take some of that money to then fund the next lot of games they want to do?
Perhaps, but I assume they're already getting enough money off Steam to fund anything they want.
Oh,
Or
that's
could
true. I forgot about that. Steam, yeah, they've probably got a bloody loads of money.
I assume so.
Yeah.
You kind of wonder where it all goes actually, but yeah, I hope they have enough to fund because it'd be a bit worrying if they didn't.
Mm.
But yeah, so I just wanted to talk about that, and then I wanted to talk about Sunny Gaming, Jay.
I have no idea what this is, so yeah, fill me in.
So this is I've tried to explain this to my partner. She doesn't understand it. When it's sunny,
Oh,
I
wow.
like
Okay.
going outside.
Literal sunny game.
Literally sunny. I like to go outside as much as the next guy, okay?
Okay. Yeah,
But there's
yeah.
something about having the window open and the curtains open on a sunny day and just chilling inside playing a game.
Yes, I do know exactly what you mean.
And it reminds me of a tweet that you retweeted from Game,
Oh,
like
wow.
the
Really?
retailer, and I think it was you, and they tweeted out, like something like "beautiful sunny day, perfect for gaming," and like just a picture of them opening the window on a sunny day, and I was like, that is literally what I do.
Oh, okay.
So I wanted to
Weird
talk
that you
about.
remember that. That's very
I
strange.
know, I know, I'm weird, but I wanted to talk about sunny gaming.
Okay.
So, what are your
Uh,
thoughts on that?
yeah, no, I totally agree. Actually, yeah, I think a lot of that is like nostalgic, isn't it? For me, when I think Sunny gaming, I think of like high school, of like having that finite amount of time over like the 6 week break or whatever. And because it was summer, it was sunny most of the time. But there'd be that day where it was like 3 in the afternoon, 4 in the afternoon, and it was like there was like a very gentle breeze, and it was just the right temperature, and you'd been playing a certain game for however long, and you sort of just noticed the weather for like a split second, but then you go straight back to it.
Yeah,
Is that the kind of thing you mean?
that is exactly what I mean.
Yeah, yeah, I know. Yeah,
Or
no, I
like
do
or
like
like
that. I haven't had that
go
in a long time, I will
oh
say.
mate, like going out as teenagers, like playing all day, and then you go back home, and then in like the early afternoon, or sorry, late afternoon, evening, you just chilling playing a game while it's sunny. Windows open, maybe playing a bit of COD, maybe playing some other thing. I don't know. But yeah, like I think there's something about, as sad as it is, I quite like the idea of. I feel good when it's sunny, whether I'm inside or not. You
Mm.
know,
Yeah, yeah, no, I get it.
and I just playing a game like Horizon Zero Dawn on a nice sunny day. I don't know. I just think there's something about that.
Yeah, I think it does depend on the game too, doesn't it? I think for me, a lot of it's Borderlands is definitely a good example of that.
Oh, for sure,
Definitely.
for
Um,
sure. All of them, I would say,
yeah, any game that doesn't really require like that you can pause.
pretty
Any
much.
game that sort of lets you, take it all in for a second, I suppose, is it's like that. Yeah. No, I think we're going to actually get that type of opportunity over the next coming weeks if it stays nice.
Yeah,
I'd say, yeah, we probably that opportunity is definitely coming up, definitely. But yeah, I can't remember the last time I had that. It might have even been in like high school. I had that feeling. Yeah,
yeah. I think it
long
is less
time.
common since we've grown
I
up.
think yeah,
Won't
because
take too
we've
much.
sort of become adults, we haven't really had time to think about, oh, is it a nice day today?
There's
It's more
definitely an
about what am
aspect.
I doing today, kind of thing.
Yeah, there's definitely an aspect of
How am I going to pay these bills?
reflection that you have when you're younger, isn't there?
Mm,
You have, well, there aren't responsibilities to think about, I suppose. So
yeah,
you just reflect on things, don't you?
a lot more carefree, exactly.
Yeah, for sure, for
Mm.
sure. But that's not necessarily a good or bad thing. That's just what it is.
Oh,
So
I'm glad you brought that up though. That's actually just reminded me of a good time.
good, man. Good.
Yeah.
Good. So history dip.
Wow.
Okay, first first one I want to we want to talk about. Let's start with Dead Space, mate, because I've talked too much this episode. So I want you to talk about Dead Space.
You want me to go in a little bit, yeah?
You know it way better than me, and I think you played it years before I did.
Yeah, so the first Dead Space came out October 2008.
Sounds about right.
So that would have been second year of high school for us, I want to say. 2007 would have been the first.
Yes, I think you're right. Yeah.
Um, yeah, so we would have been, 13, 14, however old. And when we were saying before about horror games, we didn't, like, I felt scared playing this game. I'm still surprised I managed to finish it, honestly.
Sure. So like, how scared?
How scared? I mean, like, scared enough to, like, not want to turn a corner or turn around. But not in real life, like in the game. I mean,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm with you. I'm with you.
like if I heard a noise, it was like, right, I can't walk down this hallway anymore.
Yeah,
But I had to do it, and then weirdly, I think when the monsters were there and they were all coming after you, it was less scary because you could just shoot them anyway. But the
yeah,
anticipation of it was a lot worse than the actual seeing them come after you.
for
Because you
sure,
felt
for
quite
sure.
powerful with the abilities that you had, the kinesis or whatever. You could throw objects and stuff like that.
Float things at enemies, and I get what you're saying about it's less scary when you're actually facing the enemies in a combat scenario. It's kind of where are they before the combat that's scary, I think.
Yeah, exactly. The anticipation of everything.
So why is it that this game attracted you when other other scary games are too much? What is it about this game?
Honestly, I think a lot of it was to do with the look, which I always come back to. It's like the first thing I usually think about. But then the story of it really, really got me into it. It sort of reminded me a lot of Alien. Like it'd been a
Yeah,
while since we'd had a game or a story is basically the Alien story, just told slightly differently.
yeah,
It was kind of like a virus, an alien virus, really, wasn't it? Which
for
I guess
sure.
you could say Alien was, but it was more of an
Well, they were
animal
freaky.
plus.
They were unique. It was like a unique
Yeah,
way
that's what it
to
was. It
kill
was
enemies
yeah,
through cutting off their limbs, which was unique, and they looked different to anything we'd seen before. I think.
yeah. This sort of thing, I couldn't really, it hadn't ever really been done in the way of having a gun that could change its vertical to horizontal. That
Oh
even that
yeah,
was
plasma cutter
that was pretty amazing. Like yeah,
for
the
sure.
everything about this, the way that the health bar was showed on his back. I mean,
I'm so
stuff
glad you
like
said that.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I love stuff like that. Like that's so smart. How there's no HUD really, is there?
No,
It's
I think
all
that's
it's
part of the
all the
immersion.
gun, the back.
Yeah,
Yeah, that third person. I think if it was first person, it'd be very very different. I think the fact that it's third
absolutely.
person, it definitely makes it what it is as well.
It's funny you say that because I think that there's an argument to be had, which is that third person is actually the most immersive gameplay
Yeah,
because
weirdly. Yeah.
you when you're first person you don't see your character, so how can you relate to a
Oh,
character you
yeah.
can't see?
It's very true.
That's
Very
kind of the
true.
argument. I think Neil Druckmann, the director of The Last of Us, said these sorts of lines of thought where third person is actually the most immersive in terms of understanding and relating to characters, but I could be wrong about that. But yeah,
Yeah,
so
you can compare that
uh,
actually with like Portal, because obviously the character you play in that is first
right,
person, right? And all you really see of her is her boots and her like orange shirt. Sometimes that's about it, really. I mean,
yeah,
we all know what she looks like now, but when you're playing her, you sort of have no real idea. So there's no sort of like you can't really relate to this character. Whereas when you're
for
seeing them
sure.
third person, you can get a bit more of an idea of what's going on.
Definitely.
Mm.
Definitely. And Dead Space 2, I think we both like it was like, oh, this is so great. I think we both bought it at launch. We were both really
I was so
into
excited.
it. And there was a multiplayer that we did play a fair bit and
Oh
I think was
man, I totally
fine.
forgot about that. Was it me,
Yeah,
you, and Will who played it? Did Will
that's
play it as
right.
well?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Nice. Wow. Yeah, I totally forgot about that. That was sick. I think if they hadn't have put that in, it might not have. I mean, it still would have been brilliant. But the multiplayer really like made it. I think for that,
for
it
sure.
made it feel like I could play it for longer. Having that longevity on there was much nicer, definitely.
Yeah.
And then by the
Yeah,
time the third one came out, it sort of felt a bit.
I never played the third one. Did you play the
Oh,
third
me
one?
neither. No, I think I have
No.
it. I just never touched it.
Yeah, I think I didn't. I think it was just way too action based at that point.
Yeah, I wasn't even
Um,
that. I think by that point I just got bored of Dead Space.
yeah, that's fair.
I
I
mean, there
quite
were other
enjoyed it.
titles, but they were all I think for like Wii and stuff like
Sure.
that.
I
So
did quite enjoy the multiplayer aspect because, as you say, it was just getting more playability, but also it was among that period of games where there would be a multiplayer mode on every single game, and
uh,
fun, kind of, a bit useless looking back, but I always think, you know what, that's kind of nice that we can look back and, look at Bioshock 2 multiplayer and look at this multiplayer and just go, you know what, some of these multiplayer modes are quite inventive in some of the things they're trying to do.
Mm.
especially in games like Assassin's Creed, which is so single player based. I love the multiplayer for Assassin's Creed. I definitely shouldn't, but I do.
Yeah, it was very unique. Like being an assassin in an arena with other assassins. Yeah, it's
It
very
was
very
so
clever.
cool, and it worked.
It
How?
really did.
How?
Yeah, I think
How?
people really played that like a lot, didn't they?
I mean, I know I did.
Yeah, I played it a lot. We got
Yeah, for
pretty high
sure.
level on some of those, didn't we?
Yeah, man. That we had some really good times
I
on
say they
those
don't do
multiplayers.
multiplayer on there anymore, do they?
No, no, it's just a
What was the last one to
250
have it?
hour
Was it?
Black Flag.
Oh, it was Black Flag. Okay.
Well, Unity with co-op, I guess,
Oh, okay. Sure, sure.
but Black Flag traditional PvP.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's cool. Yeah, and Dead Space 2, I will say lastly as well, I think it did a better job than we expected in terms of the scary stuff. Like I remember there was a lot of baby focus, like horror babies and
Oh,
stuff
sure.
that was quite scary. I thought.
Yeah, I'm trying. I think it's weird. Like when I think back to like certain levels of Dead Space games, I think Dead Space 2 is definitely very memorable. Like there was a lot of scenes in there that were talked about on like YouTube videos for like years to come,
Really?
just because of how unique they were. Like the one where they put the thing through his eye.
Oh yeah,
Like where if you got it wrong, he died like really like
gruesome.
horrifically.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, stuff like
gruesomely.
that.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then second history dip is
Wow.
putting the whole arm in,
Mm,
is Kingdom Hearts.
yes.
So I'll give my backstory because it's briefer than yours, I think. I
Oh,
borrowed Kingdom Hearts off of you. I think it was your dad's,
potentially.
and loved it so much that I bought the guide for it, even though I wasn't going to keep the. Deary me. Excuse me, keep the
Mm.
game. But I loved it enough that I bought the guide. I never finished it. I got stuck, but I loved it, and that's the only Kingdom Hearts
Yeah,
game I've
I think
played.
I had that with the first one. Same with the second one. And I think I've actually gotten further in the third one than I have the other two.
So when was the last time you played the third one?
Oh god. So when the third one came out, I don't remember, January 2019.
Yeah.
So yeah, start of last year. I think I played that probably closer to then, I suppose, maybe like February last year, I think. January, February last
Okay.
year.
So, and you just got bored of it, I assume.
I don't know actually. I can't remember why I came off it. There must have been something that came out after that sort of made me not want to
Well,
go on
start of the year, wasn't it? So I suppose anything could have come along, and
it. I seem to remember February last year being packed. Like
yeah, I think
massive full.
Sekiro. Did Sekiro come out then? Devil May Cry
Yeah, I think
5 came out March, maybe.
yeah.
Devil May Cry 5 looks like your sort of game, mate.
Devil May Cry 5. Oh right, yeah. No, I think I was very tempted by that, but it's yeah, they're a bit. I think I tried with DMC when that first came out, but I can't quite
Yeah,
get into those games. They're very difficult for me to get
fair
into.
enough. Do you played Bayonetta, haven't you?
Yeah, I did quite like those actually. That was probably the main reason why I did think about getting Devil May Cry
Oh,
5. Was
Bayonetta,
sort of like
dude.
loving Bayonetta, but nah.
Holy moly.
I
Did you
think it
play
might have been.
Vanquish?
Yeah, I did play Vanquish actually. Yeah,
Oh, good game.
I
What were you going to say,
didn't
sorry?
complete it. Crackdown 3 came out
Mmm.
after
Oh,
Kingdom
cool.
Hearts.
That is a packed February. Metro Exodus, Crackdown 3, and was it Far Cry New Dawn all came out on the same day?
Yeah, and then also Total War 3 Kingdoms came out in February as well. And
Jesus.
I'd been looking forward to that for a long time.
Is that the one that we talked about last week that you've been playing?
Yeah.
Right?
I've played that a lot. I really enjoyed that. Oh, and
Okay.
Anthem came out as well.
Oh, of course, yeah. Wow.
Wow, February
Wow.
last year. That's insane. It's been
Okay, so how far did you get in Kingdom Hearts? Like, how much do you like Kingdom Hearts? Tell me a bit about your history with it.
yeah. So Kingdom Hearts 1, I think I must have played the first couple of missions like 5 or 6 times. So I came back to it. I was
Yeah,
very
I've done
young.
that
So the
before.
first one came out in 2002. So I would have been 6 or 7 when the first one came out. So yeah, I wouldn't have been able to really understand what was going on too much. So I just played it for the fun of it, and then got bored of it and came off.
Yeah, I think me too.
As a 6-year-old, 7-year-old does.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and then the second one came out a time after that. I can't remember now. Let's have a look.
Don't worry, don't you have to get the year every game. Don't worry, just rough. I think 2005.
2005, yeah. So
Yeah.
3 years later, so I would have been almost 10 again. Just slightly too young for me to like really enjoy these types of games.
So
So
I never played Kingdom Hearts 2. So what did you think about it?
honestly, I don't remember that much of it.
Mm,
Trying to
okay.
remember, I remember a lot of the first one just because I did it so many times over and over.
Yeah.
Yeah, the second one doesn't really stick in my memory as much.
Okay.
I guess it didn't have as much of an impact. But the thing is with Kingdom Hearts is it's such a lovable series because it's Disney and Final Fantasy. It's like Final Fantasy has always been, massive, and then
Sure.
Disney to a kid is just amazing. So like seeing Disney characters and Final Fantasy characters interact with each other is such a strange but great idea.
Definitely.
Just
And then
it
you've got
works
new
so
Kingdom
well.
Hearts characters as well. I'd be so interested to see where they, where that inception of that idea came from. Because, like you say, it's such a
Oh, I
weird
know.
premise. Huh?
I know the answer to that.
Okay, go on.
So I think the guys who were making Final Fantasy and someone from Disney, like an executive from Disney, went to go to the same building that the office of the developers of Final Fantasy were in, and they happened to meet each other, the two sort of higher ups, in the elevator or the lift, right? And then
Okay.
during that lift ride, they had a chat, and by the end of the lift ride, they were like, right, we need to make a game together.
Oh my God.
That's basically what it was. It was like, yeah, one person from Disney, one from Final Fantasy, being like, we need to somehow make something together. Because I think the Disney guy might have been a fan of Kingdom Hearts or of Final Fantasy or something.
Never say anything is impossible.
Yeah, it's something like that. At least I'll have to double check that, but I know I've definitely read that somewhere.
Wow.
But yeah, which again, it's like one of those chance, things, I guess.
That's so weird, dude.
So glad they had that though. I'm so
Yeah, for
glad,
sure.
so glad that
Yeah,
happened.
I've got really so what it was, I bought into the hype that Kingdom Hearts was for kids and the dialogue's really bad,
Oh,
and I this is because I was being silly. So I played the Kingdom Hearts 3 demo on PS4, and I was like, I'll try it out, see what it's like. And I played it, and I thought the gameplay is solid, dude. But
hang on, you played the Kingdom Hearts 3 on PS4 demo?
yeah,
Okay, okay.
and I was like, the gameplay is solid, and then this dialogue, the acting was fine, but the actual writing and delivery was really not very good.
Uh,
And I was like, you know what, I'm going to leave this for now. And then I listened to Kingdom Hearts 1, Dearly Beloved, and I was like, I literally every single memory of playing that game just right back in my head
yeah,
after
flooded right
listening to
back
that
in.
music, and I was like, whoa, this game, I must play this game again. It has to be more than just bad dialogue in solid gameplay. Like there's too much memory there for it to just be that. So I looked at started looking at a playthrough, and they got to like the 10 minutes in, and I was like, I have to play this game again. There's too much. There's too much nostalgia there for me not to try to give this a go.
Yeah,
So what I'm going to do is Xbox, for some reason, haven't got any of the other games on there until about a month ago, where they released package. So they've released 1.5 and 2.5 in one package, and then 2.8 or whatever it is in one package.
mm,
So now I'm going to wait for Xbox to get the all-in-one package, which PS4 does, which is every Kingdom Hearts game ever in one
yep,
bundle.
yep, yep.
And I'm sure it will come to Xbox. I don't know why it hasn't come yet. I've got to be honest, but
I
moving on.
think it's because
Go on.
Sony and the developers are Japanese based, I want to say.
Sure, but I
Japan.
just don't know why you wouldn't release the other game, Kingdom Hearts games, before Kingdom Hearts 3 comes out on Xbox, if that makes sense.
I think because the original Kingdom Hearts games only were PlayStation exclusive.
Yeah,
So they've
yeah,
always had some sort of contract there, potentially, I imagine.
yeah,
They
true.
get some sort of, priority.
Sure. But I hope the all-in-one package comes to Xbox, and then when it goes on sale, I'll probably buy it.
Take
And
you a long time to play all of
it
them.
will, it will. But
Yeah,
I'm hoping to get to it one day.
it's a big
And if
investment.
not, at the very least, just play through Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2. I've never played 2, so
Mm.
that's kind of where I stand on it. But I think it's one of those things where, despite its flaws, it still has huge emotional impact. So, and I think that's why there's so many people who love Kingdom Hearts still, because despite its flaws, it's still a meaningful
Tell
game.
you what, the music is something else, man. Like, the music is like one of the big factors on that, definitely.
For sure.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I'm glad we both got nostalgia for that, and I wouldn't have been exposed to that if you didn't let me borrow it, and I definitely took advantage of that because I must have borrowed it for months, but it
Yeah,
was a great
I don't even
time.
remember that. So yeah.
Yeah, oh dude, yeah. I think you had the platinum edition or whatever, and I think it was your dad's,
Oh,
but
yeah, no, you're
yeah,
right. I still have that.
yeah.
Somewhere.
Oh,
Yeah,
dude.
okay.
Yeah, it makes me want to just play the PS2 edition.
Yeah,
But
I was now looking sort of at the chapters and where I seem to remember being in Kingdom Hearts 3.
mm,
So I'm one, two, I think I'm like five more. I'm like I'm over halfway.
okay. And how
So
did you find it? You just
yeah, just Google like because
no.
basically.
Sorry. What I mean was, like, I know that another game came along in February, but how was your time with Kingdom Hearts 3?
Oh, I
Um,
see. Yeah, it was weirdly like memorable, very memorable. Like it sort of made me think back to one and two. But then I think there's because each game has different worlds that you go to, obviously.
yeah,
And
yeah,
they're either from they're from the Disney world.
yeah,
But I'm pretty sure there's worlds in three that have never been in previous ones because they were a bit newer.
yeah. Like
Um,
Tangled and stuff like that.
so yeah,
Strange
Tangled,
choice, by the way.
Frozen.
Yeah, yeah,
I think I can't. I'm pretty sure Monsters Inc. wasn't in a previous one, although it could have been. Uh, Parts of the Caribbean
yeah, yeah,
and Big Hero 6. They're like the main ones.
yeah,
Everything else I think had been in it. So we had Toy Story before, we had Olympus before,
yeah.
and Twilight Town, which is like the main town that you go to. So
Isn't it Traverse Town?
Traverse Town,
What's the town called?
Twilight Town.
Is it?
Yeah, yeah.
Shit. Okay.
Was it called
Right.
Was it called Traverse Town in the other ones?
Let me have.
Seemed
This is the
like
thing that's
amateur now, doesn't it?
requires
It's
a
definitely Twilight Town is a world from
yeah
Kingdom
Traverse
Hearts.
Town and Kingdom Hearts 1. Yeah.
Okay, they must have changed the name then.
Okay, interesting.
Because
Well, anyways,
in two it was Twilight, so they must have changed it. Yeah.
I'm hopeful that one day I'll be able to play through Kingdom Hearts 1
Dude, you're gonna
again.
love
So
three. Tell you, you're gonna absolutely love it.
yeah, I hope I can see past its flaws. So we'll see
That's
what
the thing.
happens. But
I don't really see the flaws in it.
okay.
Right, so you were saying that bad writing or
I
like bad?
saw the Toy Story cutscene and I was not impressed. I'll just say that.
Really? Wow. Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Fair enough. Yeah. I think a lot of the problem with that is like if you look too much into a game like that, you either notice it and then you don't enjoy it anyway, or you don't notice it and you just enjoy it. I suppose.
yeah. Absolutely, mate. And I'm sure that if I played it from the beginning, I would just I wouldn't pay
Yeah, I think
attention
you'd
to
be
it.
way too excited to even care about it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how I felt.
It'll be like listening to a single that you don't like, but then hearing it in the album and then realizing its
That makes
place
sense.
in the
Yeah,
larger
yeah,
scheme
yeah.
of things.
That's a really good comparison, actually. I'm glad you
Thanks,
said.
man.
Yeah, that's good.
It's yeah. I mean, it's happened. Like I'm like, I don't like that song, and then I listen to it in the album, and I'm like, oh, it makes sense now. So. Just a friendly reminder that anyone can email in at contact@thegameopinion.co.uk with
Mm.
any thoughts, feedback, comments, and hate. All energy welcome. And
Wow.
I think to finish off, Jay, we're just going to talk about what we're going to play over the weekend and the week. Do you want to go first since I've spoken way too much?
Yeah, well, I mean, Borderlands 3
Mm,
DLC 2 is the big one, definitely.
yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Guns, Love, and Tentacles.
I think this is actually the first time I've played a DLC for a Borderlands on release day.
Well, DLC 1, right?
No, didn't do that on release day.
Really?
Didn't play any of the previous Borderlands 1 DLCs, didn't play any of those on release day. Same with Borderlands
Okay.
2. I've always waited until they've all come out and then done them all in one go. Weirdly. I don't know why, it's just how it's been with those. I
Even
think,
Borderlands 1?
yeah, even Borderlands 1. I think Borderlands 1 DLC didn't come out until like way after the initial release, right? So,
I'm not sure on the first three, but from what I remember, mate, the first three came out in fairly oh my god, in fairly regular succession.
okay.
But then the Claptrap one didn't come out for like months and
Oh yeah,
months
you're
and
right. The
months.
Claptrap one was one that took forever. Yeah.
I don't know why, but
Maybe I don't know. Maybe it was bigger.
yeah.
I don't know.
I only played the Claptrap one for the first time a few years ago, and I thought it was quite good actually. But
Yeah.
carry on.
Yeah. So Borderlands 3 DLC 2. I'm very excited about it. It's reminding me a lot of previous DLCs from other Borderlands. So
Yeah.
I'm liking that a lot.
What are your thoughts then on, as we've talked about before, the excitement of being able to play these DLCs from day one and basically be up to date with the game, if that
Yeah,
makes
I'm
sense?
liking that a lot more. I think Borderlands 3 overall feels a lot more casual to me.
Yeah.
Like it still has that behind the scenes, in depth, like builds that you can still do with characters. And if you know certain things about certain enemies to kill, you can get the right legendary stuff like that. Like it has that in depthness still to it, but it feels a lot easier to play. I think Borderlands 2 was weirdly, Borderlands 2 felt more difficult than what Borderlands 3 on Mayhem 4 does to
Okay.
me. Like I felt like I died all the time in Borderlands 2. It might have just been like my lack of skill at the time. I'm not sure. Maybe I've grown quite a
What
lot.
character were you?
0, I think.
Yeah, me too. I think he's the
Yeah,
hardest one to do solo.
yeah, definitely. I think that's probably part of it. But yeah, no, I just think I'm glad that it feels at least more casual. So it gives
Yeah.
me more of an opportunity to be able to do well in the game. And like I said before, as long as I'm being rewarded while playing a game, I'm happy to keep
Yeah.
going. So
Yeah. Two
yeah.
questions for you, mate. Firstly, do you think they will release any other main or small DLCs after these four from the season pass?
Right, so there's DLC 1, DLC 2, and then there's going to be a 3 and a 4.
I think so.
Okay. Um,
Or
I
at
think
least
they
three.
will, but it won't be for a few years.
You think they'll give it a gap?
Well, I think they're either working on 5 now.
Do you mean four? Oh, sorry. Yeah, no, I'm with you. Sorry. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
let's say they've spent the last however many years, 7 years or so, doing the main game for Borderlands 3, DLC 1, 2, 3, and 4, and they're already working on 5 now.
I assume it's more like they're working on three now. I assume
Yeah,
that's kind
me
of the
too.
situation.
They're either working on 3 now or they're finishing up 3 and they're about to start on 4.
Sure, sure.
Somewhere around there, which means that they're either going to make 5 and then maybe wait or bring it out straight after. I'm not sure. Or they might just finish. They might just leave it and say, yeah, we're done. Wait for the next one, kind of thing. I think what I can appreciate there is how much effort they're putting into this. They're updating it a lot.
Yeah,
I think that's another thing I like about this one so far. The previous ones didn't really feel like it was. I mean, they obviously probably were looked after quite a lot, and they probably were patched a lot. But I think I'm a lot more aware now, seeing as I'm playing it as the DLCs are coming out. It feels like I'm a lot
yeah,
more involved.
yeah.
So I
It's
definitely
it
feel more part of it. Definitely.
that kind of leads on to my second question, which was that I don't think me and you are that usually tuned into these games when they have updates and content coming out because we're either late to the game and everything's already out,
Yeah.
or we don't bother. So I was going to ask you, is it exciting to be part of the release schedule and these updates and these patches? And, what's your thoughts on being involved in that ecosystem as it's happening?
It kind of is now, actually. I feel quite close to the character I'm using on Borderlands, so if there's any changes made, I want to know about it. Like I
Yeah.
like how she plays right now, so if there's anything to make it worse or better, I want to know.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm very pleased being involved now, and sort of looking forward to patch notes rather than never really knowing about them.
Yeah.
Definitely,
Yeah, and I
yeah.
think you're definitely technically minded, or through that path from our last week's conversation with next gen specs that I think you like that detail. So
Yeah, I definitely want to be a bit more involved in the gaming community. With next gen coming up, I want to like make a bit more of an effort. Like we said before about 2013, the release of the Xbox One, it was very like nonchalant. It was very like, oh, I guess it's coming out. Cool, I'll get it, I suppose. It didn't
yeah,
really, it didn't feel as exciting as this does. Like this, I think more from the games that I know that are coming out, like Cyberpunk. Like I've seen that now. I'm like, if that game's anything like how I imagine it's going to be, then the next gen is going to be amazing. But if it isn't, I mean, I really hope that the games that we've seen so far really do play like how we've seen them play. I think
definitely.
that's one of the main things keeping me excited at the minute for next gen. Is just like the hope that the games are going to play and last. I really hope it lasts.
Yeah, me too, mate. I think,
I hope there's like
eh,
a good end game, really, and I hope it just doesn't finish. I hope it's like not like a campaign. I hope there's a campaign and there's after you can like continue doing things.
yeah, I'm two minds of that. I kind of like that, but then I also like the Borderlands pursuit, which is that okay, look, we're a single or we're a multi. You know what I mean? We're a single player
Yeah, yeah.
based game, with a campaign, but we've got new game. Oh, excuse me, it's the beer.
Mm.
We've got new game plus, and we've got DLC and patches and free updates that will keep you engaged and keep the game installed. And I really like that approach. And I think you're right. It's exciting to be part of that ecosystem because I know that I'm never a part of it. Never really have games at launch either, so it's interesting. But
I've been like part of that with like other games, like League of Legends, definitely. Like
mhm.
they update that like on a weekly basis of like changing. They have you know what a PTR is?
Nope.
PTR is like a different server. There's like a pre-server where you can like test out new characters before they get released on the main servers.
Okay. Yeah.
So they have like test servers that people can like to basically balance they're basically like betas but more efficient. Like they're there to sort of help you balance the character before they even come out,
Yeah.
which I guess is what most betas are nowadays. But a lot of people can't do betas that efficiently. But League of Legends has been around long enough to be able to do that now. But then, in doing that all the time, you get used to seeing all these patch notes and tweaks of certain characters and stuff like that. So I'm kind of like, I've had that experience before, at least a little bit. So I sort of know how to follow it at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're also going to play Control or try to play Control, which we've spoken
Mm.
about, and
hmm
Final Fantasy 15.
15. Yeah, I've really like it looks amazing. Like it really does look like the all most Final Fantasies. After 12, I'd say like Final Fantasy 13 and after all have a new sort of next gen look to them. Um, and I really want to make a bit more of an effort now that I've got the time. I know roughly how long it's going to take me to finish it, so I want to be able to know. Right, I've got this much time, so I'll make a bit more of an effort to actually try and learn how to. I think the main thing for me is learning the combat. The combat seemed a bit tricky to me,
Okay,
so now I've got time to learn it. I think I'll give that a go. I think, but that's
great.
probably. I mean, I don't know if I'll do that before or after Control. I'll
Okay,
see how I feel. I mean, I've installed them both, so
great. Okay,
see how
I,
they
I,
do.
I'll be interested to see what you think, and I'm also interested, Jane, what you think on this idea. So
Mm.
last gen, we talked about Final Fantasy 13 last week, which we're saving for next week, but we talked about that. And my question to you is, I don't like the trajectory of Final Fantasy at the moment because it's basically one per generation at this rate, which is a bit sad, I think. Not including the MMORPGs.
So yeah, you can look at this from two ways. You can look at it from, oh, I don't like that it's taking so long to come because I want more of it. But then you can also look at it from, well, I'm glad they're taking this long because at least they're going to put the time in to make it better than it should be, right?
Sure,
I
sure.
think I have to look at games like that nowadays. If a game gets delayed, if anything, I'm actually more glad that it's delayed than if it isn't.
Yeah,
Because to
yeah.
me, it means they care enough
To
to
delay.
change so much just so they can get the game of a much better quality than they would have done if they'd pushed it for their original release date. And so
Yeah,
many games have rushed to do that, like Anthem, which is probably the reason why it is so bad. If they'd waited another year, it probably would have been a completely different ball game.
yeah,
So yeah,
yeah.
any time I hear that they're taking another year or two to bring out a game, I'm like, yes, thank you. I'm glad you did that because at least now, the worst, the worst that can happen is me just having to wait a little bit longer, which I'm going to be able to do regardless. I've got plenty of other things to fill the time,
Sure.
so I'll just do that instead.
Yeah. Yeah, and I will also acknowledge that that's technically not true, I guess, because we got two sequels to Final Fantasy 13, which, we were talking earlier that Final Fantasy 13 2 we both really enjoyed. And I know that Final Fantasy 15, they've released a lot of DLC and other
Oh, a hell of a lot, yeah.
content, a lot. So it's not like it's, just the single game and that's it. But I guess I was looking for more consistent, reliable, high quality Final Fantasy games. But I'm not going to bother with 15, which is
Do you mean
sad.
like
But
Assassin's Creed type release schedule?
I do, but even then, it's one of those things, Jay, in it where like only a few games a year come out where you think, oh yeah, they've spent, that like that they've pretty much got it as good as it can be. And
Hmm.
I don't think that's the case with a lot of Assassin's Creed, despite 500,000 people working on the game according to the credits. I don't usually play an Assassin's Creed and think this is the best possible Creed game this could be, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Do you disagree?
I'm trying to think.
And I wouldn't want a Final Fantasy to come out every year, definitely
No,
not. But
no. I think the Assassin's Creed situation of bringing out a game every year for however many years it was a very unusual way of doing things, and
yeah,
it definitely benefited them. It made them their reputation went up definitely. Their name and their brand is a lot held to a higher standard now.
yeah, I
But I
think you're
think
right.
it also helped
Yeah,
that they had so many different places working on different ones at a time. Because didn't
yeah.
Unity was just worked on by Ubisoft Montreal, I think, or is it
I want
just
to
a
say yes, but I honestly have no idea.
yeah, I want to say that they had different developer studios working on a different, like almost like how the Call of Duties get released now. Like there's
Yeah,
three
I think
different
you're.
developers
Yeah,
doing individual years each time. So right now, the people who are making the next Call of Duty started on it 3 years ago.
yeah. No,
Like how amazing is that? Can you imagine if every game developer did that? That'd be insane.
no. That is cool. I guess it's just that
That's so amazing.
every time I see the credits or whatever, it always seems like they've just got all hands on deck for the Creed games, and it doesn't seem as quite as structured as Call of Duty.
Oh,
But
okay.
I could be wrong, but I also think that it's a sorry, it's a funny thing because it seems like no matter how many people and money you put towards a game, you almost can't rush quality, if that
No,
makes
you really
sense.
can't. You could put 1 million people on a game. It would still take the same amount of time as if you had 100 or 200, just
Mm,
because you need to be able to make the quality still good. I mean, technically, if you had a hell of a lot of people on a game, you could definitely get it done quicker. But yeah, would the quality? Because I mean, I think I'd rather have a small team. Less eyes on one thing is sometimes a good thing because you're going to have so many different influences of different people changing and tweaking so many different things that the chance of getting it's almost like Chinese whispers. The chance of getting the same input or the output as the same input is difficult. The thing that was whispered in one person's ear isn't going to come out the same the other end if there's a longer line. The shorter the line, the better that you are. You're going to get to that closer, right, that first idea.
mm.
Um, so sometimes that can be beneficial. I guess it just depends on what it is, I suppose. I think in the case of Assassin's Creed, there's a lot that goes into them. But
For sure.
yeah,
Yeah, for sure. It's fun. Yeah, I mean, so the thing that comes to mind for me is the Spyro remakes, where I think the first one they made every dragon unique, and I was like, wow, this is incredible. But
hmm
that level of detail didn't seem to transfer over to the second and third game in the package. And I
sure,
just couldn't help but think, oh, if only they had 6 months more time, they could have, it could have been the best possible product. And I know that probably never exists because there's always improvements to do. But I just felt that they needed 6 more months to do what they really wanted to with that. But and it's same with Assassin's Creeds, where I play them and I think, oh, if only they had a bit more time. But I guess you could say that about everything. So it is difficult, but
yeah. I'm trying to think of an example of like a perfect game, like a game that you literally couldn't improve it on in any way.
Rocket League,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I was thinking actually the Spider-Man game, the more recent PS4 one.
interesting,
Like to
interesting.
me, the only other way you could improve that game is if you gave him a skill tree that was bigger.
Yeah, yeah,
Like that's just me personally. Like I love
yeah,
like Path of Exile.
yeah.
You played that or?
Wait, which one's what is that?
It's
Is that the
like a,
Shooty Souls game?
no, it's Path of Exile is free to play, bit like Diablo, but
Okay,
it's like a mixture between WoW. It's like Diablo style graphics, but it's like very long, very low. You can make a character that has very insane spells by the end of it and
okay.
stuff like that. That type of like dungeon crawler type thing. But my point is that the skill tree in that game is big. Like you have to zoom way out for you to like get to the edges of it essentially.
Bit like Final Fantasy 13.
Yeah, and I guess I mean you could make an argument that that would be kind of cool in a game like Spider-Man. Um,
Or at
but
least bigger than it was. Yeah,
at
I
least
get
bigger
that.
than it
I get that.
was, or just
Yeah,
make it a bit more involved with like his abilities. It all kind of felt quite simple. But then again, simplicity can mean a lot in some games. So
for sure. Well, in terms of polish, though, there are always bugs in every game. I would say Red Dead 2 might be the most polished game I've played.
yeah,
In terms of the detail. But you're right, it's difficult to think of a game that was perfect. Inside comes to mind for sure.
sure, yeah.
That
Oh,
game
Journey.
was ridiculous. Journey, I'd never played the PS3 version, so I couldn't say for sure.
Yeah, I played both. Was there supposed to
But
be a difference?
no, I'm just saying I didn't know if there were any improvements made on the PS4 version,
I guess
basically.
graphically, maybe slightly, but it's
Sure.
all fairly the same. Maybe just like a slightly more high definition.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh no, I wouldn't imagine much else.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
probably the more simpler games are probably like pretty perfect. I mean, even like Minecraft,
Right.
all the simple stuff is probably pretty perfect because there's less to go wrong, isn't there? The more complicated the game, the more chance of more things going wrong or needing improvement potentially.
Yeah, and obviously it comes down to whether you and I agree on what needs improvement. But there's definitely some games that I've played where I'm like, for me, it's funny, isn't it? Because you think it is
Yeah,
a perfect
it's all
game, and then they come,
personal.
and
It's
then,
all
then they
personal.
come out, yeah, and they come out with a sequel, and it makes improvements, and you think, oh, I never thought of that.
Yeah,
So
unless
it's
it's
difficult.
Crackdown 2 when it went the complete opposite direction.
Or three, which was just a bad game, but
Yeah,
yeah.
it was
So I'm
okay. It was better
playing.
than
Yeah, I mean, it's not. Maybe it's bad's the wrong term, but it wasn't great. It wasn't very
it was
good.
just
I don't
different.
think.
I think just different is a agree disagree type term, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. It worked. It
No, it
worked.
worked.
It was
Worked.
fun,
But
I
yeah,
guess.
yeah,
And I'm also, as soon as I pop off this podcast, I'm absolutely playing Borderlands 3 DLC.
yeah, man.
And any podcast that I listen to, I might go on Red Dead for a bit as well. But it'll mainly
Mm.
be Borderlands DLC for me. So
Yeah, see, I can't. I don't think I can do that.
do what? Sorry.
Sort of go from Borderlands to Red Dead. I don't think I could do that transition.
Yeah, I mean, for
They're
me,
very.
it's
For me,
like
they're very different.
they are different. For me, it's kind of I really want to tick this podcast off my list, so I'll go on
Oh,
Red
sure,
Dead
sure,
and
sure,
spend
sure.
2 to 3 hours doing that sort of thing. So that's kind of where my head's at.
Hmm.
If I've got. Oh, actually, yeah, I forgot to say it. I've started playing Psychonauts.
Oh, yeah, you did mention it before
Yeah, so,
a while ago.
is it Double Fine? Is that
Uh-huh. Yep.
yeah, so I think me and you both love Brutal Legend, which might be one to put on History Dip next week.
Oh, true.
And, yeah, so I started playing that today on my laptop on the TV in the other room, connected the HDMI to it, got it on the TV, which is cool. Yeah, and I started playing it, and I really, really like it. It's like an adult 3D platformer, and it's got some really smart things, and it's fun, and it's funny still. So I'm really liking it. So whenever I get a spare chance, I think I'll start cracking on with that as well. But there's a lot of collectibles to do.
I say Psychonauts 2 is coming out eventually, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah, Xbox exclusive, I imagine now because Xbox own Double Fine.
Yeah.
So yeah, that should be coming out. Well, I think it's scheduled for this year, but God knows when it's coming out. But
'Cause,
I
yeah, a
wanted
lot
to
of things
finish
are
it.
gonna be postponed now, aren't they?
I
So it's
assume so,
a shame.
but I wanted to finish the first one before the second one came out. But if that does come out on
Okay.
Xbox One, which I assume it will, obviously, that's going to be really cool. So
Hmm.
yeah. So
Yeah, no, I
anything
wouldn't
else
actually
you?
mind playing Psychonauts. I think it's
I
very
think you'd like
underrated
it, mate.
game. Yeah, no,
I've,
I know a lot about it because I follow Funhouse on
hmm
YouTube, and there's a guy in there called James Willems, and that's like his favorite game of all time. He's very obsessed with that game.
It's a good game.
Uh, and
I
and
haven't
him
finished
sort of
it, but
being in the world of like gaming, I think he's met with the
developers.
guy, the developer, the main developer,
Tim
and I
Schafer.
think I
Yeah.
think he's even like gonna be in the game or something,
Oh,
or
okay,
like have
right.
a voice role in it in like some capacity or something because he's like such a big fan.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know enough. I think I might have even watched a gameplay of him playing it.
Cool.
But it does actually look weirdly. The graphics are obviously older, but it looks like the style of Xbox game that could still hold up. Like
Yeah, I think it does.
I could still see myself playing Blinks.
Look, I think with the right graphic settings, because it's on PC, you'll be fine. I know what you're saying about Blinks. I'm sure it looks worse
Oh, it
in
probably
real
looks
life than
really
our
bad, but
heads.
I kind of
But
miss it.
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, no,
I think you should try it. I think you'll like it.
yeah, no, I think it's a lot more in depth than people think it actually is. There's a lot behind it, so yeah, I'll have to look
Dude,
into
it's
that.
it's it's quite funny.
Yeah,
Quite
no,
surprisingly funny.
I think it's
Um,
fairly simple too, right? It shouldn't be that difficult to complete.
oh no, it is very much a 3D platformer collectathon
Oh,
through and
sure,
through.
sure. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
it's kind of like for me it is kind of like a Spyro, so I'm in love.
It actually
Um,
kind of reminds me of the TV show Legion. Have
wait, what's that?
you seen Legion?
Don't think
So
so.
Legion is Professor X's son. He's a
Oh, I
very
know it. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
powerful
yeah, 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 yeah.
uh, mutant, and he's sort of he's very like has a mental type ability, and a
Okay.
lot of that is very similar to how I think Psychonauts is. It's all this sort of like magical, psycho types stuff. So
Yeah. Okay.
there's a,
Cool.
there's, there's a comparison there somewhere. Trust me.
No, no,
I'll
no. I believe you. So,
have
anything
to
else you want
look
to add
into
for today, Jay?
it. No, I think that's it.
Okay, man.
I think yeah, we've covered quite a few things actually, things we didn't even have listed. So
True. True.
yeah,
Cool. Okay.
I'm looking forward to the next week, man. The next week's going to be full of very
Next week's
memorable
gonna be
moments.
good.
Like I know Borderlands is going to make me think and make me feel some type of way. So
Good.
I mean,
Good.
I don't know if I might have not even said this before. I cried at the end of the campaign,
Oh my. Really?
like legit cried. Yeah,
To be fair, it
like
is
the
quite
ending
an impactful,
really. Like I didn't
and the
when I was
song.
playing it, I really didn't think it was going to affect me that much, but it brought a lot back. So.
Yeah, I can see why.
Yeah, no, I did.
The song kicking
I
in.
surprised myself so much. It was insane.
Yeah, no, I can see that.
Yeah, I know.
Cool.
I feel very connected to this game, so it's going to be one of those ones held in, high regard. I'm sure in both of our lives, right?
Yeah, it came out when we wanted it finally, and I think it's delivering. So
Oh, massively,
I'll definitely look back on it in favourable light.
definitely.
Yeah, man. Well, thanks for your time and
Yeah,
contribution.
yeah.